This video under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Smash that like button. Let's go.
Dream early in the morning as promised. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Let me just back that up just a little bit. So, what's going on, y'all? It is early in the morning. Y'all know I haven't been live this early in some time, but the way my schedule is set up, I am here this early today. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to go back live a little later. We shall see, so that we can get through this reading. So good morning to you all. I hope everyone is doing well. If you're in the building, please hit that like button so that we can get the video out into the algorithm. Shout out to the people watching over on X, formerly known as Twitter. Shout out to my mods, Ali and For Always, that are in the chat. So we just like to keep it chill over here and respectful. All opinions are welcome as long as they are done respectfully. Any disrespectful comments will be removed from the chat. We just ask that question, and we don't condone bullying over here. So, we love the interaction. Please interact in the comments. Just be sure to not bully anyone and respect everyone's opinion. Everyone's opinion is different regarding this case. I have my own very strong opinion. And that's just that. So that's all that we ask, right? Be respectful. Please respect my mods. Good morning, For Always. Once again, thank you so much. So for the people on X that are watching, you are always here watching in abundance, great numbers. So Ali normally drops a link over there in your chat. You can click it, it'll bring you right over to YouTube. I ask you to please just click the link, hit the like button, subscribe button. That's going to work for two things. One, it's a free way to support the show. And two, we are on the road to 4K subs, and that would help us out greatly. Follow me on Twitter. I do true crime content, so sometimes I post over there, but you'll more than likely see me go live regarding the case that I am covering. But sometimes I'm over there. I am over there. So thank you for being here, and everybody here that's watching. The thing is, let me explain this to the people on X. If you come over here and like the video, it does not tell me who you are. That's the difference between YouTube and X. YouTube just, counts the like. It does not say who liked or disliked the video. You can hit the thumbs down too. Just hit it. All right. So we're going to get right into it because, I have limited time this morning. But before we do, we're going to hear a word from our sponsor, and I'll be right back. We're going to start the never-ending direct testimony of Cassie Ventura. This is day 3.
And now a word from our sponsor. Survivor Speaks extends heartfelt gratitude to M Essentials for their generous sponsorship. From handmade soy wax candles for a cleaner burn to car and pet-friendly room freshener sprays. They offer quality products tailored to your needs and do not use any dye in any of their products. Custom packaging is available upon request, along with a limited luxury line while supplies last. Visit www.inmanessentials.com now and don't forget to subscribe and enter your email address for an exclusive 10% discount on your first order. What are you waiting for? Now back to the show.
Okay, there I go. So we are back. So we're going to get right into the reading. They did quite a bit of working through some issues during the yesterday's live. They worked through some issues that are coming up regarding some witnesses who are also victims, and whether or not they should be able to consult with their attorneys during cross, because the witnesses are fragile. We do know that one witness was on the stand and she got crushed by Brian Steele. I don't know if he should really be doing a victory dance right about now, though, because they said it was that bad. It was bad. It wasn't a good look for him. So that's that on that. So then they went on to recess, and so now we're starting the afternoon session. So we will probably more than likely get to Cassie's cross. So let me just go ahead and start with the reading. These are the official transcripts. So we do have all of the testimony and the sidebars from when the judge and the attorneys go to a sidebar. But yeah, they said Brian Steele was running amok in this courtroom, and the government finally got tired of it, said something about it, and the judge chewed him, kind of chewed him out a little bit. I love Brian Steele, but what are you doing? Some of the things that you have done in this case, you were so against when you were a YSL attorney. And the only reason why I understand Brian Steele and Miss Nicole Westmoreland are defense attorneys, the only reason why I'm disappointed is because normally they do what they have to do to win their cases. They give their the defendant everything, but they normally do it ethically, and I just don't think that was in good taste or ethical what Brian Steele did. I just don't want him to let Diddy use him. Brian, you let the Lord use you, okay? Let the Lord use you, because Lord knows that love on top, Tunchi on the bottom is guilty of a lot of these things, and Brother Love knows. Love, Puff Daddy, Diddy, Pop, Poppy, Brother Love. Mr. Sean Freakoff Cone. All right, y'all, let's get right into it. So, please be seated. As to Exhibit 619, the objection to the defendant's proposal under Rule 106 is overruled, subject to the discussion that we had in terms of which pages will come in. So just for the sake of the record, my understanding is that it is 706 through 708. Is that correct, Ms. Garagos? Yes, it is, Your Honor. So then we'll handle that exhibit in that fashion. Other than that, is there anything else we need to address before we bring in the witness and the jury? Your Honor, I just wanted to flag how we will proceed with the sealed exhibits. We have hard copy material for the defendant and for the court, and we are able to show it on the screens just for the jury and the witness. in order to keep that material within the well of the courtroom and not visible. The court says that's fine. These are not videos. These are the images. He's asking a question. So he said that's fine. So these are not videos. These are the images. These are the images. Are there videos that are going to be used in for this witness? The government does not intend to use any videos with the witness. I understand the defense may, and we have requested to confer after the trial day about how that might happen. That would require headphones, and we will have to address how the video will be shown to counsel. Anything else from the government? No, Your Honor. Anything from the defense? No, Your Honor. Let's have Miss Ventura back, and then we'll bring in our jury. And once again, shout out to Cassie and Alex Fine for of their new bundle of joy. She had a baby boy last week. We wish them well. Welcome back. Thank you. The court, all rise. Please be seated. Welcome back, members of the jury. I know it was an extended lunch break, but I assure you, while you were hopefully relaxing, we were working hard to make things more efficient so we can save your time. With that, Ms. Ventura, you understand you're still under oath? Yes? Ms. Johnson, you may proceed. Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach the bench with a binder for the court? You may. Just to confirm before I proceed, my understanding is that the exhibit feed to the overflow room has been turned off, and that the monitor that faces the gallery has also been turned off. All right, that is confirmed. If anyone views anything on any of those screens, or if anyone is aware of that not being the case, or any material going to the overflow room, they should alert me immediately. Your Honor, that is largely correct. They cannot see the evidence in any capacity. They will just see the camera feeds, nothing else. That's the overhead view. That is correct. And the witness stand. All right. So given that we're using binders, everyone should just be mindful. There is an overhead camera on the witness, on the counsel tables. You may proceed. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Ventura, I would like to show you a few images now. Okay. First, Ms. Gavin, can you please pull up for Ms. Ventura only Government Exhibit 2A404, and for the court and defense counsel, that should be the first document in the binder. I forgot to say, this is a trigger warning. This video is not for kids. And just giving you a trigger warning in advance, because most of this testimony is pretty graphic. So I just want to make sure that everyone that is watching and listening knows about that. And as I stated, if you are on X, if you can please hit the link that Ali has put in the chat down there under the video. It will bring you directly over here. You can just hit the like button, the subscribe button next to that. And go back and watch this on X. But I would appreciate if you come over here. That's a free way to support the show over here on YouTube. Thank you so much. And also, donations are not mandatory, but they are accepted. These transcripts cost anywhere from $300 to $500 per day. So for each day, myself and there are a couple other content creators that have gotten together to purchase these transcripts as they are being released. So we are working on, we should have day 4. I just have not spoken to. I'll reach out to him. So we should have day 4 because I'm almost done with day 3. So he should have it by now. So day 4 and 5. If not, I'll just, I'll see where he's at with it. So, so everything that is donated, all donations, will go back into the platform that is, for now, this is the transcript for it. All right. So let's go here. Let's go back here. So, do you see that exhibit, Ms. Ventura? Yes. Without saying the name of the individual depicted in Government Exhibit 2A404, Do you recognize that individual? Yes. How do you know that individual? She's been a friend of mine for a long time and also worked for Sean for some years. Is that a fair and accurate photo of the individual depicted in Government Exhibit 2A404? Yeah. Miss Johnson. Okay, at this time, the government offers 2A404 under seal. Any objection? No objection. It will be admitted. Miss Ventura, you've already been referring to the individual depicted in Government Exhibit 2A404 as Mia. But going forward, I would ask that you continue to refer to her as Mia. Okay, thank you. Just one moment. Miss Gavin, can you please publish the exhibit to the jury? Miss Gavin, can you take that down and pull up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit BX202B for the jury and Miss Ventura only? For the court and counsel, that's the second document in the binder. Miss Ventura, do you see that exhibit? Yes. Do you recognize who's depicted in that exhibit? Yes. Who is that? That's Jules. And at what type of event is this still image taken from? This is during a freak off. Have you seen this image as part of a larger video? Yes. And where was that video found, if you know? Off of one of the devices that I gave to the government. When you gave those devices to the government, were all of those devices working at the time? No, they were actually all broken. Y'all see that? The government can get information, text, pictures. Not just the government, like all courts, they can get that information off of a broken devices, because she gave her several devices that were broken and they were still able to get this information off of those broken devices. This is just food for thought. So think when you are transmitting pictures, video via your phone or laptop, iPad, all that type of stuff. Yeah, just because it's broke don't mean it can't get it. So, and when had they been broken? How long had they been broken for? Some for years. Yeah. Okay, Miss Gavin, can you take that document down, please, and put up Government Exhibit 205, BX 205B for Miss Ventura and for the jury. For counsel, that is the third, in the court, that's the third document. Ms. Ventura, do you recognize who's depicted in this image? Yes, that is me and Jules, I think. Is this a frame from a longer video that you've watched? Yeah. Okay, and what was the occasion where you were with Jules in this video? Also a freak off. And on whose devices was that recovered? From one of my devices that I gave the government, one of the broken ones? Yes. Okay, Ms. Gavin, can you take that down, please, and put up Government Exhibit BX 206B for Ms. Ventura and the jury only? For counsel, that would be the fourth document in the binder, and for the court. Ms. Ventura, do you recognize who is depicted in Government Exhibit BX 206B? Yeah, that's me and Dave. Okay, what are you and Dave doing? We are in a freak off. And is this exhibit a still image from a video? Yes. And the video is from the same source as the previous exhibits? Same source. Broken something. Can you take that down, Miss Gavin? And please put up Government Exhibit BX 208B for Miss Ventura and for the jury only. For counsel, that is the fifth document in the binder. Miss Ventura, do you recognize who is depicted in Government Exhibit BX 208B? Yes, it's me and Greg. They could go in your iCloud. Yep, so you can't hide anything. Big Brother is definitely watching us. That is so true for always. They can get anything they want. If you have an Apple iPhone out of the cloud, even Samsung. It's Google. So yeah, you definitely can go in there and get what you need out of the cloud. But what I'm wondering is on Google, if you go into something incognito, can they? That's something to think about. So she says, yes, it's me and Greg. Did we see a photograph of Greg earlier today? We did. And is this another still image taken from one of the videos recovered on one of your broken devices? Yes. Okay, Miss Gavin, can you please take that down and pull up what's in evidence as government exhibit BX601C for Miss Ventura and for the jury only? For counsel, and the court, that's the sixth document in the binder. Miss Ventura, do you recognize who's depicted in government exhibit BX601C? Yep, that's me. And at what event, what are you doing in this photograph? I'm sitting on the couch at a freak off by myself. And what is between you and the couch? A big cover, like bed cover sheet. Some kind of linen? Linen, yeah. And what's on the floor? The same thing. What are you wearing on your feet? Very high shoes. And what's next to you, if you can see it on the side table? Looks like water, bottle of water. You mentioned drinking water a lot at the freak-offs earlier. Why did you need to drink water? To stay hydrated from all of the partying. When you say partying, what do you mean by partying? Using rugs, drinking alcohol. And finally, Ms. Gavin, can you take that document exhibit down and put up government exhibit BX602-A, which is in evidence for Ms. Ventura and for the jury only? And that's the last document in the binder for the court and for the defendant. Ms. Ventura, do you recognize who's depicted in this exhibit? Cannot be trusted. It will get you a life sentence before you even know it. Tell me about it. Miss Ventura, so in this exhibit, she said, yep, that's me. Okay, and what's on your skin in this exhibit? Oil? And what are you doing in this exhibit? Just standing there and next to the bed? Was this taken at a freak off, if you know? Yes. And what's behind you on the nightstand? Candle. Looks like some tops for the different lubricants. And if you could take that down, Miss Gavin, and just for the clarity of the record, Judge, I'm not sure if I mentioned when I offered the BX series that the government will offer all of those series under seal. No objection. All right. They will be admitted under seal. Miss Ventura, I'm going to turn to a different topic now. You testified yesterday and today about Sean physically hurting you during your relationship. Do you recall that testimony? Yes. Approximately when in your relationship was Sean first physical with you? Pretty early on, within like the first year of us dating. And after that time, how frequent was he physical? How frequently was he physical with you? It was frequently enough. It was a thing that became pretty common eventually. Who, if any, of Sean's employees do you recall being present for Sean being physical with you? Objection to physical being vague. Ms. Johnson, can you rephrase or ask a clarifying question? Ms. Ventura, you have testified that Sean was physical with you before, right? Yes. And you testified that includes what actions does being physical include? Being punched, kicked, dragged, mushed. If I refer to those actions collectively as physical abuse, will you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Who, if any, of Sean's employees do you recall being present for Sean's physical abuse of you? Hold on for a second. I think the objection was for lack of a time frame. I think we need more specificity on the question. Okay. Starting at the beginning of your relationship, Miss Ventura, which was approximately 2007, is that right? Yes. Who, if any, of Sean's employees do you recall being present or witnessing Sean's physical abuse of you? Security. Oh, give me one moment. She said security was there. Security was present for all of this, of course. Everybody at the parties was aware of this. Of course. Give me 1 second here. All right. All right. So who from security, if you remember? At that point, definitely his driver Malik. That was in New York. It was a long time ago. I don't know exactly who was there. Okay, what about later in your relationship, sort of in the middle or of your relationship? Same question to you. Who, if any, of Sean's employees do you recall being present or witnessing physical abuse of you? At that point, it would have been some of his assistants and his security as well. Who specifically, if you recall, from Sean's assistants witnessed physical abuse? Mia? Anyone else? There were other assistants that I know definitely quit because they told me that they didn't want objection grounds, hearsay. We're not offering it for its truth, Your Honor. We are offering to understand Ms. Ventura's state of mind. I'll sustain the objection. The answer was non-responsive. Maybe ask a fresh question and we can get an answer. Ms. Ventura, are you aware if any of Sean's employees quit after witnessing physical abuse? Yes. Of you? Yes. Which employee quit? There was an employee that quit named George Kaplan. You also mentioned that around the middle of your relationship, security witnessed physical abuse, Sean's physical abuse of you. And who from security was aware of or was present for or witnessed physical abuse? Bonds, Uncle Paulie, D-Rock. Miss Ventura, did you see pictures of those individuals yesterday? I did. Okay, at the end of your relationship, Your Honor, objection to just the beginning and end of the relationship. Could we have some more specificity than this? I think that's fair. Isolated in terms of an actual time frame. Yes, Your Honor. Starting in approximately 2:15 through 2:18, would you call that about the end of your relationship, Miss Ventura? Yeah. So during that time period, who of Sean's employees do you recall being present for witnessing his physical abuse of you? Security staff and management. Okay, let's take those one by one. Who from the security do you recall witnessing or being present for the abuse? At that point, D-Rock. What about staff? At that point, just before that, Mia was no longer there, but she had seen. I'm trying to think of who else. I just lost it. Okay, you mentioned management. Yeah, what management from where? The management that worked with us, James Cruz, witnessed some of the violence. Did you ever initiate a physical fight with Sean? I did. And if you did, in those cases, what, if any, injuries did you see on Sean after you initiated a fight? I didn't see anything after the fight. Were you ever injured after Sean was physically abusive with you? Yes. How often? Anytime he was physical, there would at least be some trace, a bruise or something. What, if anything, did you do to recover from these times? Recovery was days worth. I would just kind of hide out for that period. Where would you hide? Hotel rooms? Your Honor, objection to the general nature of all these questions. If we can have some more specificity, it would be very helpful. Let's have a brief sidebar. So they're going to sidebar. And so we're going to read, because we do have the official transcripts, what was discussed at that sidebar. The court, what's the objection? Your Honor, this questioning has been going on for some time now. The questions are related to general instances of physical abuse, and we're talking about an 11-year relationship, and it is not clear to us what instances of abuse that we're talking about here. So it's difficult for us to follow the general nature of the questioning and be able to respond to this. If there are instances of physical abuse that the government wants to question her about, then they should do that. But this general questioning over and over again is cumulative. It's speculative. And we ask that they try to pin down the year, at least the year that they are talking about here. All right, Miss Johnson, when you clarified using the years, that didn't draw any objection. It might be easy for you to do that. So is that something that we can do? I think that the objection really is that we're talking about different events that may have similar hallmarks, but are not the same events. It makes it very difficult to understand which events the witness is speaking about, but there is probably some clarification that you can provide to help the witness isolate which events he's addressing. All right, of course, and I'm about to get to very specific events, okay? Events, and the court says okay. I just want to caution that the witness is not always going to know the year, and so that's understandable. It's a long time ago. She has some memory issues as a result of some injuries, and so for that to be, that's fine. When you use the general time frame, I think you gave a 3-year period as signifying the end of the relationship. I think that was helpful to make sure that we understood exactly what we were talking about. Yes, if you do that, that is helpful. Also, just to add, Your Honor, based on our understanding of her interviews with the government, there are a select number of instances of physical abuse in the range of 7 to 10, and those are the ones who have been focusing on and we are prepared to address. These questions just about the general nature of physical abuse in the abstract without getting into those specifics it gives the impression that once Ms. Johnson gets to the point of the specific incidents, that there are more than those specific incidents that exist. Now you're previewing your cross-examination for Ms. Johnson. That's helpful, but that's exactly the kind of thing that you would be able to explore on cross-examination. I think for present purposes, the nature of your objection is that it's just vague, and that's the main objection. And it gives a misimpression to the jury at this point. I want to be clear, though. This witness will testify, and that's been reflected in the government's 3,500 materials, that there are certain specific events of violence that we're about to get to, but these are by no means the only incidents of violence, and that she doesn't remember every incident of violence because it was pervasive over an 11-year period. 11-year period. Understood. You've asked questions along those lines, and she has given answers about what she did and did not remember. I understand that, but I think we're all on the same page. Let's take it from here. If you have any further objections, you can raise them. Thank you. Thank you. So that's the end of the sidebar. Now they're back in open court, and the court says, Ms. Johnson, you may proceed. Ms. Ventura, I would like to direct your attention to the first few years of your relationship with Mr. Combs, approximately 2007 to 2008. Is that right? Yep. During that time, in what city was the first instance of physical violence? New York City. Where were you earlier that evening before the instance we are about to talk about of physical violence? We were eating at a restaurant called Philippe. And can you please describe what happened at that restaurant? There was a downstairs like private eating area, and Sean and friends and just a lot of different people came to the dinner. There was a brief moment where I caught Sean like flirting with somebody, I think. And there was another person and looked at me and saw that I saw it. I shrugged my shoulders like whatever. And then when we got in the car, he knocked me around and was just really mean. When you said he knocked you around in the car, who is he? Sean. And who else, if anyone, was present in the vehicle when you got in? Security driver. And when you say knocked you around, can you be more specific what Sean did? He hit me in the side of my head and I fell to the floor of the car. We were in his Escalade. Just shook me up and scared me quite a bit, to the point where I just was trying to get out of the car, and I finally got out of the car. And how did you feel after that instance of violence? I was just shocked. I didn't necessarily understand what happened and why he was so angry, except for the little bit that he said as he was like hitting me in the car. Yeah. And I just went home, kind of hid out after that. Directing your attention now to January of 2009, do you recall attending an event at the Ace of Diamonds in Los Angeles in January of 2009? Yes. Why were you at the Ace of Diamonds? I was there with Sean. He was hosting a party, I believe. Were you drinking at this party? Yeah. What happened, if anything, as you left the party? As we left the party, I had been speaking to a producer about music, and Sean called me a smut or a biatch or something. And when we got in the car, I punched him in the face. Okay, Cassie. Lord, Cassie, did you have to? I would just say throughout the entire relationship, because some people can't remember what they did last month. Yeah, some people can't remember, and with a brain in, like, being beat, like he used to beat her all up in here, like, so they're saying because of some of the physical abuse, she may be a little fuzzy on some things. And of course, you always are thinking about a year, right? Excuse me. You're always thinking about a year. I was diagnosed with breast cancer March of 2008. And when I graduated, I had a stole made, a pink stole for breast cancer. And the hat topper. The topper was first. So I had put 2009 on the hat. So I was like, yeah. Well, I had somebody else, design it for me. I just gave them a vision. And I said, well, we're going to just go with this because I gave the wrong year. So, and she had already, her turnaround was so fast. She had already sent it. So it was too late when I realized, oh my goodness, I put the wrong year. It was a year earlier. And so I said, I might as well be consistent. So when when I purchased the stole, I put on there 2009 because that's what they said on the hat. So yeah, it's just, it is really, really crazy. But yeah, that's just sidebar. But anyway, you do have memory issues. So, and I'm wondering in all of this, you can have a concussion where you don't have to necessarily like fall out or black out. That definitely does something to you, and it causes other things. And the fact that she never went to the doctor, and every time they needed a doctor, he was able to have her taken to a doctor to get whatever done. I'm pretty sure. The one and only time I was in this situation, I had a concussion. So it caused me to choke through the middle of the night. I used to just wake up choking all over the place. Like, if I didn't wake up, I could pass because but they gave me something for that helped. When I went to the emergency room, they gave me something for that. And then after a while, that went away. But it is no joke. It is. I don't understand how she stayed in this all this time. But like I said, everybody's not as strong as I am. One and done. That's because that's how my mother raised me. But in a relationship where somebody 17 years your senior and you were groomed, I don't even know how I had got to that place. It just one day we woke up and that's just what happened. I don't know if I could stay in that. It's just not a good feeling at all. So like I said, God had to be with her because for her to be able to still bear 3 children, and we know that she struggles with mental health from seeing these images in her head. She replays these images in her head and having to testify to these events is very triggering because it actually made her remember more of the incidents that she had put in the back of her mind. So if that clarifies anything, but yeah. So, did you make contact with Sean's face when you punched him in? His face is very punchable. Um, and speaking of him taking her to the doctor, they should. Yeah, I'm waiting to see if they're going to subpoena these doctors, especially the doctor where you know her face with who stitched her face up. I'm pretty sure they told the doctor that she fell or something. I'm sure the doctor didn't know that it was from, but it would be to corroborate that, yeah, I am the surgeon that um plastic surgeon that fixed her her face. I sewed her face together. And what did they tell you? That would be if the doctor remembers. So I don't know. Let's see. So had you hit Sean before that time? Not that I recall, no. Did you see any injuries on Sean's face after you hit him? No. What was Sean's response after you hit him? His whole demeanor just switched over. I remember his eyes went black. It was just like we were in an Escalade, but the two sitting in the middle, the two seats that are separate from each other with the windows down, and we had a friend kind of like following us back to the house. So all that went down with the windows down. And then after I punched him and he attacked me, and I was basically like underneath the back seat in the Escalade, just trying to cover my face. Why were you trying to cover your face? Because Sean was stomping on it with his foot. How long did Sean stomp on your face with his foot? The ride back to the house was short, but I mean the whole ride was a fight until we got there. Probably like 10 minutes up the hill from the party. He does mention his foot in the video. And after knowing what I know, I'm like, really? His right foot, he calls his ugly foot. His left foot is the pretty one. Sean, is your right foot the ugly one? Because that's the one you kick with. You be kicking people with. Make it make sense. Let us know. But when you go back and look at these videos, he's telling a lot in these videos without us knowing anything. And I was like, what? That's your ugly foot. Gotta keep lotion on my ugly foot. Gotta keep it lotion. Now I'm gonna put some lotion on my pretty foot. I was like, what type of mess is this? Child. But I digress. If you're just stepping up in the building, just please hit the like or the dislike. Thank you very much. It does not tell me who you are. It's just a free way to support the channel so we can get the video out into the algorithm. And once again, to my friends watching over on X, if you could just please hit the link that Ali has put in the chat, I would greatly appreciate that, and come over here and hit the like on YouTube and the subscribe button. It's a free way to support the show. And also, we're on the road to 4K subs, and we want to get there hopefully today. So thank you. I saw it the other day for Always. There are so many videos that they're putting out now. I believe that it's part of his PR team, because where are all these videos coming from? And the video, it's not a bad video. It doesn't show him in a bad light at all. The video looks like he's just a fun party guy, always on vacation with his family and everything, and other things like that. But when you are, watching this case so close and we're reading these transcripts, those videos mean something different. See Cassie on vacation with Diddy and his family. First, you didn't see her because sometimes he didn't allow her to come out. She only could come out if he told her she had to come out. She could come out. If he did tell her she needed to stay in the room, she stayed in the room. But one particular night, it just was like, in the one video, they were on vacation and she's dancing and there's Diddy's other baby mother. First, they were sitting each side. And so he puts the camera on Chance's mother and he's like, this is what you call co-parenting. And so then they, show another part of the video where Cassie is dancing with Diddy and Sierra. So what? It was just, oh goodness, it had lost connection and reconnect. Like, I don't know what's going on with this. So it was just, it's just looking at it from us knowing what we know now. It's like, yeah, weird, awkward. All right, let's get back to this transcript. So where was the destination? Oh no. Okay, so when you say the whole ride was a fight, what part of the fight happened for most of the ride? It just was me trying to defend myself and cover myself up. I was just being I just never experienced anything like that before that, where I just was getting really, really badly beaten. Yeah. Where was the destination of where was the car going while you were getting being in the car? The car was going back to Sean's house that he was renting at the time. When you got to Sean's home, what did you do? I took off running. I got out of the car and started running down the street. What happened after you took off and ran? Pretty sure security caught up with me and I was brought back to the house. Who from security do you remember catching up with you? Roger Bonds. Roger. Roger. When you were brought back to the house, what happened at the house? At the house, I went down into Sean's bedroom downstairs, and I finally, I saw my face. I just didn't look like myself at all. Just knots and bleeding, swollen everything. I looked horrible. And then shortly after Sean came in and he saw me, I think I was vomiting when he came in, and he kind of came to, and the person that he switched over to was now gone, and freaking out at the sight. Whew. After Sean saw your face inside the home, what happened next? Basically he said that I had to go sneak out of the house, out of the back with security, and go to a hotel and just stay there. So I went to the London Hotel on Sunset. Okay, in Los Angeles, yes. And just to back up to when you were in the car, who else, if anyone was in the car with you and Sean during the drive where he was stomping on your face? During the drive, I remember an assistant and the security driver, Bonds, the driver, security. And Bonds is the same person who ran after you when you ran away? Mm-hmm, yeah. Did you say yes? Yes, sorry. And you testified that you went to Sean, told you to go to the London Hotel after he saw you. Is that right? Yeah, he had security bring me there and sneak into the hotel. When you say sneak in, what do you mean by that? I was just covered up because nobody could see me like that. When you say you were covered up, what part of your body was covered up? Mostly my face, my head. Approximately how long were you at the London Hotel? I stayed that week for about a week, maybe a little more. Did you want to stay at the London Hotel? No. The next day, and I was trying to go home to be with my mom. Okay. Did you tell anyone you wanted to go home to your mom? I did. Who did you tell? I told security. I told the assistant that came and brought me ice cream. Excuse me, for some reason my mouth is this one. So ice cream is the way, it's the remedy. You bring me what the? I would have said, what the? You bring me this ice cream. Do you think I want some ice cream at this point? I want to go home to my mother. So y'all, I want you to pay attention to, this is very early in the relationship, right? Very early in the relationship, she's talking about these. And she wanted to go home to her mother. So if she wanted to go home to her mother early in the relationship, while she's this bruised up, this tells me because I got common sense and I like to use it. This tells me that she wanted to tell her mother early on. I can guarantee you they had a conversation about her not telling anyone what he was doing to her. Let's see what happened when she told them she wanted to go be with her mother. Let's see. Who from security, if you remember, did you tell? Bonds. Okay, and the assistant who brought you ice cream, do you recall the name of that individual? Genevieve. Oh, that's a first for me. That's my first time hearing Genevieve now. All right, so besides security and Genevieve, who else, if anyone who worked for Sean, came to check on you while you were in the hotel? I don't really remember. I think the only other person would be Derek Roche, stylist. Objection. That's overruled. Okay, while you were at the hotel, what contact, if any, did you have with Sean? He would just check in and was the one who definitely said, I couldn't go home. Kidnapping. Part of the RICO. You see this? This is early on in the case. She wanted to go home. He said she could not go home. What are people talking about? She could have just left. This is one of the first beatings. So how could she go home? They wasn't letting her go home. Roger Bonds. I don't know if they are going that kidnapping for real for always. I don't know if Roger Bonds is testifying. I do know that he said that they had not reached out to him yet, but they asked him, if they do reach out to you, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to be honest. He said how he got away from Sean was he was diagnosed with diabetes. He used it to his advantage. He went and worked for Ciroc. And so he was glad to be from under him. Like once he came back, he didn't go back to work. He went back to work for him for a very short period of time. He saw it like things were worse. And somehow he went and worked for Ciroc. I do know the government said that they're not calling anybody to testify that has been talking a lot on social media. But for Derek Bonds, I think that's a whole different ball game. I think that's a difference. He was the head of security at one point. He saw a lot. So, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, was Derek Bonds the security that was there when Kim poked Diddy right near his artery with the wine corkscrew? Was it Roger? Was it Roger and Gene? Or I don't know if Gene was there and he's just telling a story. I don't know. Maybe they'll have the person come in and they'll testify to that. So, so did you tell Sean you wanted to leave? I don't remember. I'm sure I know I said that I wanted to go home. So I guess, yeah, I did. And what did Sean say when you said you wanted to go home? Just absolutely not. Yeah, Gene Deal. Yeah, okay, so we'll see if he... I know he told the story, so, okay, so maybe he was there. Some things are a little fuzzy at times when you're listening to him. So, because he says he only speaks on things from when he was there, but he does speak on other things from when he was not there as well. And that he just said last week. So that's why I'm just like, okay. Did you feel that you could leave the London hotel? No. And why not? Well, I don't think I would have gotten out of there smoothly. It was not safe. I didn't have just the resources I need to get out and move and not have anybody stop me. When you say not safe, can you explain what you mean by that? That I felt not safe? Right. Like you said, leaving wouldn't be safe. Can you explain what you mean by not safe? It wouldn't be safe. I mean, I understood at that point it was still early, but I understood Sean's capabilities, his access to Pow Pals, and the threats that he made prior to that. Yeah, I was privy. And when you were taken to the hotel after the assault, did you want to go to the hotel? No. In fact, I remember wanting to stay at the house, but I was not allowed to. And you mentioned that you had to cover your face when you entered the hotel that first time. Who, if anyone, told you to cover your face? Sean. He wanted me to get in there without people seeing me and security. When you say security, are you still referring to bonds? Yes. You mentioned that you said you wanted to stay at the house. Who didn't allow you to stay at the house? Sean didn't. Are you aware of Sean's assault after the club was publicly reported? I don't. I know that there was a blind item. Did she object? Objection, sorry. Oh yeah, that's right. He did say that. He did. Right. He did say that. So yes. On what grounds? It's overruled, Miss Ventura. I'll re-ask the question. Are you aware if this incident was publicly reported? I am only aware that there was a blind item on the internet without our names that described exactly what happened from someone's point of view, and who, if anyone, raised that blind item to you. My mother. Okay, can you describe the conversation with your mother? Objection. We're not offering this for its truth. It's overruled. The conversation that I had with my mother, yes, she was pretty straightforward, and so she just asked me, and I said no. It was before FaceTime was really popular, so I could still hide. When you say your mom asked you, what did she ask you? She said that she had read an item on the internet and she wanted to know if it was me, and she sent it to me. And what did you tell her when she asked you that question? I said, nope, it's not me. Was that truthful? No. Can you explain to the jury why you did not tell your mom the truth? I didn't tell my mom the truth because I was ashamed. But I also felt like at that point I didn't know what was going to happen, and I also didn't want to put my mother in danger for knowing anything of that magnitude. When were you allowed to leave the hotel? When Sean wanted me to go with him to the studio? How did you find out that Sean wanted to go with him? Sean wanted you to go with him to the studio. Staff, somebody reached out and told me to get ready. Approximately how long were you at the London hotel? I would say somewhere between 7 and 10 days. And when the staff reached out to you and said Sean wanted you in the studio, where did you go? Or I went to Chalice, the studio. Is that a recording studio? Yes. And when you left the London hotel to go to Chalice, what if any injuries were still visible on your face? You could still see my eyes were like bloodshot on both sides. I still had some bruising around my mouth and my eye, but I wore sunglasses and just put makeup on. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up for identification government exhibit 28502 for the court and parties only? Miss Ventura, do you recognize the individual depicted in 28502? Yes. Who is that? That's a makeup artist named Mylan Morales. How do you know Myla? It's Myla, not Mylan. Myla. I worked with Myla when I was maybe 15 or 16. We did Vibe magazine together, and she just kind of became a bit of a big sister in the industry to me. Is this a fair and accurate photograph of Myla Morales? Yes. The government offers government exhibit 28502. No objection. It will be admitted. Miss Comey Miss Comey, remind me I need to publish this to the jury. Miss Gavin, could you please publish government exhibit 28502 to the jury? Miss Ventura, did there come a time when you stayed with Myla after a physical fight with Sean? Yes. Do you know the year that this happened? I don't remember the exact year. No. Can you approximate where in your relationship it occurred? In the first half? In what city did this occur? In Los Angeles. Before you stayed with Myla, how did the night begin? I was staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel and was with some girlfriends. We had dinner and I went back to my room. And one of my girlfriends that had left called us back and said that there was a party at Prince's house. and he was going to perform. And so she invited us and we went. Was there any discussion about going to Prince's house with Sean? Or, sorry, among your girlfriends, was there any discussion of going to Prince's house? Yes. What was the discussion? What was the nature of the discussion? Just that it would be fun. He's performing probably in his basement. And yeah, just like a once in a lifetime experience. Did you talk to Sean about it? Nope. Why not? Because he definitely would not have let me go. Objection. That is sustained. When you were at the Beverly Hills Hotel that night, who, if anyone else, were staying with? I was staying on my own, but Mila had laid down on the couch to take a nap, so she didn't join us to the party. Was Sean in LA at this time? He was. Did you and your girlfriends end up going to the party? Yes, we did. You testified that you didn't discuss going to the party with Sean. Is that right? Yep. Based on your years of dating Sean at that point, this is the in the first half of your relationship. Is that correct? Yes. What would you think Sean would have said? Objection. If you had asked. Objection. I think there is a clarifying question to ask, but I'm not sure that is the one. Miss Ventura, at this point, have you been dating Sean for a few years? Yes. What did you think Sean would do if you asked to go to the party? I thought he would say no. Okay. When you were at the party, what happened? We arrived and went downstairs. There weren't that many people there, and Prince wasn't performing yet. So we were just there, and I saw some executives from like BET. I saw different people that I knew through Sean. And then suddenly I heard that he was there. And when you say he, who were you talking about? Sean. You mentioned you went to the party with your girlfriends. Have we spoken about any of the girlfriends that were present on this trial at this trial? One of them, who was that? Natalie. Anyone else, if you remember? And Mia. Okay. When Sean arrived at the party, what did you do? I left. I heard he was there, and then I caught a glimpse of him. So I ran out as fast as I could to the front yard. Why did you run out as fast as you could? Because I could tell he was angry. I knew he was angry at me. How could you tell he was angry? His facial expressions. And he came after me. So yeah. When you ran out of the party, who else, if anyone, ran out with you? Mia, I believe, ran out with me. And what, if anything, do you remember about what happened after you ran out of the party? It's a little fuzzy, but the most distinct memory I have is like running and falling into the bushes in the front yard. And like, I don't know if at that point he was over me. I have no idea. I just remember falling in the bushes and then getting up quickly and getting in the car to get back to the hotel. And did you see Sean again after Prince's house? Yes, he came to the Beverly Hills Hotel where I was staying. And you mentioned earlier that Mila was in your hotel room. Is that right? Yeah. She was asleep on the couch in the living room. And when Sean came to the hotel, what happened? When he came to the hotel, he just burst in the room, and I didn't want Mila to see or hear anything. So we went in the bedroom. And we were in a bad fight, and he beat me up in that room. He was throwing luggage at me, just calling me all kinds of names. Not the luggage. After the hotel, where did you go? After the hotel, Mila helped pack me up, and we went and stayed at her house in LA. How long were you there? I would say for about 3 to 4 days, maybe. What, if any, visible injuries did you have from the fight with Sean? Bruising on my face, knots on my head. Just, it was always like a little bit similar whenever I would get hurt. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up for identification for the court and the parties only? Government Exhibit 28501. Miss Ventura, do you recognize who is depicted in Government Exhibit 28501? Yes. Who is that? That's Scott Muscudi, or Kid Cudi, as people know him. How do you know Mr. Muscudi? We dated in 2011. We worked together for a brief period. Is this a fair and accurate photograph of Mr. Muscudi? Yes. The government offers Government Exhibit 28501. No objection. It will be admitted. Ms. Gavin, please publish it to the jury. Ms. Ventura, you mentioned that Mr. Muscudi is known by other names. If I call him Scott during this testimony, will you know who I'm talking about? Yes. And directing your attention to December of 2011, what was your relationship with Scott at this time? At that time, we had just like formally met around then, just before then, and we were working together and friends, and then we started dating. When you started dating Scott, did you tell Sean about Scott? No. What was the status of your relationship with Sean at that time? We were always like up and down at different times, and it was definitely a time where we were not in the greatest place. Did there come a time when Sean found out about Scott? Yes. How did he find out? How did Sean find out? He actually found out during a freak off in LA. He went through my phone, and I believe he saw emails between me and one of his staff members. And who was the staff member whose emails Sean saw? Capricorn Clark. Shall stick a pin in that, because Capricorn Clark actually comes and she testifies. And what about those emails would have alerted Sean to your relationship with Scott? It was about bringing my toiletry back to his house or something like that the next day. Miss Gavin, you can take down the exhibit. After Sean went through your phone and saw those emails, what was his reaction? I just remember him putting like a wine bottle opener between his fingers and like lunging at me. Just a whole, his eyes blacked out, super angry. Also, he got that from Kim. Kim done poked you with the wine cork, so here you go. Ciao. And I just had to get out of there. It was actually another time I was able to get out of a freak off. When you were able to get out of there, where did you go? I went back to, I had another hotel that I was staying at, and I went and I had a burner phone, and I went to get the phone, and I called Scott, and he came and picked me up. What's a burner phone? It's not your real number. It's just a phone you use. Why did you have a burner phone at the time? Because I was dating Scott, and I didn't want Sean to find out. And before you left the hotel, where you were with Sean, when he lunged at you with the wine opener, did he make any contact with you? No. How much do you remember of what happened after Sean found out about Scott? I remember like the order of the day. It was a very long, drawn out day, but some of the pieces are a little bit fuzzy. So starting with Scott, you just testified that when you got back to your hotel room, you used your burner phone to call Scott. Is that right? Correct. When did you next see Scott? When he came and picked me up on, I think it was Wilshire Boulevard, just in the middle of the street. Where did you go after Scott picked you up? After he picked me up, we went to his house in the hills. Pulling up for identification for the court and the parties only, Government Exhibit 28406. Miss Ventura, do you recognize who is depicted in Government Exhibit 28406? Yes, that's Capricorn Clark. Is that the Capricorn Clark whose emails you referenced earlier? Yes. And how do you know Capricorn? We worked together. She worked with Sean, and that's how I met her. She went through, I think, a Sean John campaign, and then she started to help with my artistry and stuff. Did Capricorn work with Sean or for Sean? For Sean. And is this a fair and accurate photograph of Capricorn Clark? Yes. I'll offer it as Government Exhibit 28406. No objection. It will be admitted. Ms. Gavin, can you please publish Government Exhibit 28406? Miss Ventura, what, if anything, do you recall about interacting with Capricorn that day after you had met up with Scott? Well, we reached out to her because she obviously knew about my relationship with Scott and just explained to her everything that had happened. She came over to Scott's house. And after you met up with Capricorn, where did you go next? After I met up with Capricorn, I ended up going to Sean's house. Yeah. My goodness. Why did you go to Sean's house? Cap said he just wanted to talk, and the better. I just felt like the better to resolve it in that moment was to go there and just speak to him. So I went. When you say you went to Sean's house, which of his homes did you go or to? One of the times he was renting, it was actually the one that you showed yesterday, the photograph I showed you yesterday, which is for the record Government Exhibit 2B101 and 102. What happened when you arrived at Sean's house? When I arrived at his house, that was the house where his bedroom was on the top floor, the same as the entryway. So I went in his room and he was irate. He was just so angry. And when I was in the room, he told me about videos that he had that he was going to release and how he was going to hurt Scott and I. So that was all said there, and then I ultimately just left. When Sean mentioned videos that he had that he was going to release, what video is he referring to? To freak off videos of me. What happened when you were leaving? When I was leaving, I was more than ready to go. Sean, kicked me in my back on the way out. So I had just a big bruise on my back. I fell to the floor and and then left. What, if any, injuries did you have from being kicked in the back? I had a large bruise on my back. It's fuzzy. The day is fuzzy, but I had bruises in other places on my body. I just remember that one significantly because he literally kicked me with the bottom of his feet in my back. Yes, for always. It is. I do believe that she was writing a book. I don't know if she's going to continue, but she should. Any way that she can get her coin, I believe she should get it. Like, this is her experience. This is something that she went through. So, and after leaving Sean's house, where did you eventually go? I went to my hotel first to get my stuff. The hotel that had the burner phone. What was the condition of your hotel room? It was just tore up. There was somebody peed all over the floor in the bathroom. My clothes were everywhere. What? Child, all the furniture was turned upside down. Somebody pooped in the toilet and didn't flush it. It was just gross. I can't. Take me now. What? Y'all, hold on a minute, because I just need to reset. This is just crazy. It's crazy. All right, and we back. Oh, like what? Okay. After that hotel room, where did you go next? I went to another hotel. This was just before Christmas, so it was like literally the night before I left to go home to Connecticut for Christmas, and I stayed at the Sunset Marquis with Scott. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit B315 and publish it? Miss Ventura, start from the from line. Who sent this email? Me, Veronica Bang, and an alias that I used. Who did you send this email to? To my mom in Capricorn. And when is the date this email was sent? December 23rd, 2011. Where were you when you sent this email? I was actually on my flight to Boston, Connecticut for Christmas. Can you read the contents of the email? Threats. The threats that have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release 2 explicit X tapes of me, one on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another one sometime after that. He has also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Muscudi physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happened. Child. I'm so sick of him. Miss Gavin, if you can pull up for identification government exhibit 3Q109 and 3Q112 side by side. Miss Ventura, do you recognize who's depicted in these photos? Yep, that's me. Where are these photos taken? They are taken at my mom's house. And approximately when were these photos taken? When I got to Connecticut for, I'm sorry for interrupting you. It's okay. Are these true and accurate photos taken by your mom from when you got home to Connecticut in December 2011? Yes. The government offers government exhibit 3Q109 and 3Q112. No objection. These exhibits will be admitted. Miss Gavin, can you please publish them to the jury? Miss Ventura, how long after you arrived in Connecticut were these photos taken approximately? Within the first 6 to 12 hours of being there right away because my mom knew. And you testified that your mom took these photographs. What led to your mom taking photographs? She asked me if I had been hurt, and I told her the truth. Yeah. And what if any injuries are visible on the photographs? On the photographs, there is bruising. There is a dark bruise on my left lower back, butt area where I was kicked, and then another one on my thigh. When you say where you were kicked, is that the kick in the back you described? Yeah, that was the kick in the back where I fell to the ground before I left the house. And that's before you left Sean's house. Before I left Sean's house in Los Angeles. Were you entirely honest with your mom about the physical abuse that you were experiencing when you spoke to her in December of 2011? No. I believe I told her this was the first time. Did you tell her about the freak offs? No. Why didn't you tell your mom about everything? I couldn't hurt her like that. I just wasn't there with it. I wasn't ready, and I was also just terrified. Like, it's not normal. What's not normal? Just constantly being bruised up by the person that you love or that says they love you. Like, you can't justify it to anyone, just especially not your mom. Is it possible for me to take a quick break? So this is Cassie asking, do you need to take a break? Of course. A 10-minute break. Yes, I appreciate it. We'll take a break, come back at 3:05. The jury is not present. The court says come back in 10 minutes. The witness says thank you. Please be seated. We'll be back in 10 minutes. So then they go on a 10-minute recess. Miss Comey, as we wait for Miss Johnson and the witness, do you have a sense of how much time we have left on direct examination? My guess is we have about another hour, but I would not want to be held to that, Your Honor, because I'm not putting the witness on. I won't hold you to it. Thank you, Your Honor. I will loosely hold you to it. Come on, I won't hold you to it, but I will loosely hold you to it. The goal is to finish the direct with time to start cross-examination before the end of the day today. Okay, thank you. Your Honor, I was just confirmed with Ms. Johnson. I'll put it on the record speaking about a few remaining exhibits they intend to introduce on 106 issues. For efficiency purposes, and we don't figure that out by today, we will allow them to put them in on redirect. I just wanted to let you know. Very good. Let's get Ms. Ventura, and then we'll bring in our jury. Welcome back. Thank you. Please be seated. Ms. Johnson, you may proceed when ready. Ms. Ventura, before the break, we were talking about you being in Connecticut for the holidays in 2011. Do you remember that? Yes. Okay. Who else, if anyone, came to Connecticut with you for the holidays? I flew there alone, but Scott came and met me there for a little bit. How long did Scott stay in Connecticut? He stayed, I think, like 3 or 4 days. Approximately when did he leave? Right before New Year's Eve. When Scott left Connecticut, what was the status of your relationship with Scott? I had broken it off with him. It was just too much. When you say too much, can you explain what you mean by that? Too much danger, too much uncertainty of like what could happen if we continue to see each other. Objection. Overruled. When you say danger, what specific danger were you worried about? I mean, Sean said to me before I left LA that he was going to hurt the both of us. And I at least took that in my mind. Like, if I stay in this situation, we both will be hurt. If I don't, then no one will be. How long did you stay in Connecticut? I stayed there just, I think, until New Year's or just before it, right after it. Where did you go after Connecticut? After Connecticut, I ended up going to see Sean in Arizona. He was visiting a college with his son. Did you tell your family where you were going when you left? No. I said I was going back to LA to get to work. Why weren't you truthful with your family? I did not want to disappoint them. And in your mind, what would have disappointed them? In my mind, disappointing them would be to go back. Would be to go back to the abuse and everything that had happened just days before that. And when you refer to the things that happened just days before that, is that the kicking in the back and the other things we discussed? Kicking in the back, yeah. Yeah, just all of that. Yeah. Did there come a time after this when Sean mentioned Scott's car? Yes. He mentioned that when we were out of the country that Scott's car would be blown up. What? What the hell? He wanted his friends to be there to see it. When you say he wanted his friends to be there to see it, who is he? Sean wanted Scott's friends to be there to see the car get blown up in the driveway. Did there come a time when you saw Scott again? Yes. Where did you see Scott next? I saw him at the Soho House in Los Angeles. The three of us had a meeting. Who is the three of us? Me, Sean, and Scott. What was the purpose of the meeting? The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the relationship that we were no longer in. Yeah. And the only thing I remember from the end was Scott asking Sean, objection, non-responsive. I'll ask another question. Okay. Miss Ventura, what do you recall happening at the end of the meeting? Scott said, what about my vehicle? And Sean said, what vehicle? And that was the end of the meeting. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up for identification government exhibit 9N 101 and 9N 102? Miss Ventura, do you recognize what's depicted in government exhibit 9N 101? Yes. What's that? That's me and Sean with our friends in Kingston, Jamaica at Sound Clash. And approximately what year were you in Jamaica with Sean for Sound Clash? I'm not positive, but I want to say around 13, 14. I'm not 100% though. Directing your attention to the image on the right. What is the image on the right? The image on the right is a zoomed in photo of my eyebrow and forehead bruised and swollen. Are these fair and accurate images from you being in Jamaica at or around 2013 or 14? Yes. The government offers government exhibits 9101 and 9N102. No objection. They will be admitted. Miss Johnson, Miss Gavin, can you please publish these exhibits for the jury? Directing your attention to the photograph on the right, government exhibit 9N102. Can you describe what injury this photograph depicts? It looks to me like a black eye. What, if anything, do you recall after getting a black eye in Jamaica? I recall getting a black eye. I don't remember exactly the whole story leading up. I know that Kerry Morgan and I hid underneath a tractor for several hours just trying to hide. Lord, shoot. I don't remember the exact how I got the injury. I know I was hit, but I don't know. Objection. Overruled. Who are you and Kerry Morgan hiding from? Sean. And who gave you the black eye? Sean. You can take those down now, Miss Gavin. Miss Ventura, I'm pulling up for identification. Government Exhibit 3Q104. Do you recognize who's depicted in this photo? Yes, that's me in Sean's bathroom on Mapleton. And what is the date of the photo? September 18, 2015. Is that a true and accurate photograph of you on September 18, 2015? Yep. The government offers government exhibit 3Q104. Any objections? No objection. It will be admitted. Ms. Ventura, can you explain to the jury why you were in Sean's house on September 18, 2015? I was staying there to recover from a weekend in Las Vegas where I got a black eye and some bruising. What happened in Las Vegas? In Vegas, Sean was hosting a party, and after the party, there was an after party in our suite. After the party is the after party. And oh my goodness. Excuse me. Wow. And the bedroom was adjoining with the living room. I was talking to a manager, and Sean tapped me and told me to come in the next room. And he beat me up in that room, in the adjoining room. What specifically did Sean do to beat you up in the adjoining room? I mean, he punched me, kicked me. I was trying to run away, and I made it into the bathroom. I just remember going into like where the actual toilet was in the stall and trying to close and lock the door. And then I ended up just underneath the toilet, just trying to cover myself while he was kicking me. I ran out to the bath like it was a big bathroom, just trying to get away from him, screaming. So many names of people in the music industry whose careers seem to just disappear. Yep, that's what he did. That was his specialty. One hit and you're gone. Get out of here. And I get to keep the money from the hit. I mean, it's just. Oh, excuse me, I do apologize. I'm tired. How did this incident end? It ended when security and management came in the room finally. Who from security came in the room? D-Rock. And who from management came from the room? James Cruz. How did D-Rock react when he saw you? When D-Rock saw me, he started to cry. They both kind of teared up. What, if any, visible injuries did you have? Man, that's heavy. That's heavy. When the security saw him, D-Rock started crying. Both of them teared up. Wow, that says a lot. She had to be pretty bad off. Can't make this up. Okay, so what, if any, visible injuries did you have? I had black eyes, golf ball size knot on my forehead, busted up lip. Miss Ventura. I'm sorry, Miss Gavin. Can you take down this exhibit and please pull up for identification? Government Exhibit B609. Miss Ventura, do you recognize this chat? Yes. Okay. Who are the participants? That's me and D-Rock, I believe. Is this a fair and accurate message thread between you and D-Rock? Yes. The government office, Government Exhibit 609. No objection. It will be admitted. And Miss Ventura, looking at the first blue message at the bottom of the page. Miss Gavin, would you mind blowing that up? Thank you. Miss Ventura, what's the date of this message? September 14th of 2015. And what is it from? Should be, who is it from? D-Rock. Who is it sent to? Me. What does it say? Where you at? It's time to ice your face. Ciao. He cried, but it's time to ice your face. This is why it's being called an enterprise, people. He had people aiding in this cover-up of abuse. And it's not like they're in small ways. Like, this stuff is major. It's time to ice your face. Ciao. Why would you have needed to ice your face on September 14, 2015? Because I had just gotten beat up in Las Vegas. And besides ice, was there anything else that you used to apply to injuries that you had after physical assaults? I would use ice. I always had like arnica gel for bruising with me, things like that. Lord, she had to carry around. Oh, man. You can take that down now, Miss Gavin. You testified earlier that after Las Vegas, you were staying in Sean's home in Los Angeles, right? Correct. Why was that? He offered his house, and he said, stay here for a few days to essentially recover. And I had some friends over for a few days. Besides your friends, who else, if anyone, was in the home? One of his sons. What communications, if any, did you have with Sean while you were staying in his house in September of 2015? We exchanged messages and FaceTimes. What comments, if any, did Sean make about your injuries? He would just tell me like his son couldn't see me like that and that I should go put more makeup on. So that's what I did. So there you go, people. He was covering up. So maybe the sons didn't know. Well, or could it be maybe they didn't know at this point? It's she's saying he didn't want. That's what he said. He didn't want. I'm going, do what I need to do to you. You want to be bruised up, but it's your responsibility not to let my son see this. When he said my son can't see you like that, what did you understand him to be referring to? He can't see the bruises on your face. How long were you staying in Sean's home in September of 2015? It was a little less than a week, I think. Before we move on to another topic, Ms. Ventura, are the occasions we just spoke about all the times that Sean was physical with you? No. Just to be clear, all the times he was physical with you during your approximately 11-year relationship, those weren't all the times. No, we just spoke about some of the times. Some of the times, yeah. And were there any other injuries that you had as a result of physical abuse that we haven't discussed? I don't think so. Besides yourself, have you seen Sean be physical with other people? Yes. Which other people? I saw him be violent with assistants. I saw him punch somebody in the head, drag an assistant out of her bed. Yeah. Who did you see Sean punch in the head? Eli. That's a new name to me here, Eli. And what did you observe on that occasion? We were in Miami going to or from a club, and we were in the back seat, and he punched Eli in the back of the head. When you say he, who is he? Sean. See, listen, I wouldn't have lasted. I wouldn't have lasted a day with that movo. Because, baby, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. I'm going to hit you back with anything I can pick up and knock you upside your head with. There will be no putting of the hands and feet on me. And I'm not going to fight back. Because I'm going to put hands and feet on you. Right back on you. Baby, let me tell you something. Diddy would have got it. That's all I got to say. I was trained because I was a correction officer, so I took martial arts as a child. So when I went into the Department of Corrections, reached out to my sensei, may he rest in peace, and though I had already learned, going as a kid, going to martial art, doing martial arts, it was like it was a refresher. I'm a grown adult now. I'm going into this environment where bad people are. So yeah, let's just do this refresher thing, right? So I know how to take down a 200 to 300 pound man with muscle. Listen, it taught me how to use everything in the jail to defend myself. I said, look, this is how it looks. We have one jail that is the old jail, they call it, and it has the bars. But then they have a new jail with doors and They swing out. They're metal. All right, let's get it. You already know what to do. Let's go. He like take me down. I don't know how I don't know how he did it. He had this big pop belly. But no, he will kick your head off. He will. Let me tell you something. High. He kicked high. You kick your head off. Nobody where I live messed with him or his brother. And so, yeah, Diddy would have been done for real. Bring me here to work. It's going down. I'm fighting for my life before I leave. I'm pulling everything out the bag, all the stops. That's just how I go. My brother may his soul rest in peace. He found out the hard way. Stop playing with me. One day I said, stop playing with me. I don't feel like playing. Stop playing with me. I don't feel like playing. Stop playing. I don't feel like playing. All I gotta say is I thought I unalived him. I mean, I busted his nose wide open. Blood was everywhere. My mother had to call an ambulance. I told him to stop playing with me. Like, and I didn't mean to. It's just fast reactions that when you go to martial arts, it's the stuff that, when you take martial arts, it's just stuff that kicks in. And you just, before you realize it, like you went ahead and did some moves. I would have gave Diddy let me tell you something. They would have had to jump me, security, everybody, because baby, everything around me was going to be used. And your house, all your nice stuff that's sitting around and put over here and stacked over here, statues, everything would have been coming at Diddy. Let me tell you, I'm not kidding. 100%. Not kidding. Not at all. Bruh. You like beating on women? All right, bruh. Let's go. That's on everything I love. I don't mess with Diddy's. I don't deal with men. I was never attracted to Diddy. Never. Never, ever, ever, never. And half of that ish that he be wearing is, I don't care what design it is, it's for the birds. It's not it's not becoming. Oh my gosh. Diddy would have been done. You also mentioned that you saw Sean dragging an assistant. Who did you see Sean drag? Mia. Where were you? We were on a trip to Turks and Caicos. Man, that's one of the places that I have not been, and I'm trying to get there into so I can check it off my list, but I haven't gotten there yet. Now, every time it's anyway. What happened in Turks and Caicos? From what I remember, we were hanging out all day, smoking, partying on the beach. And there came a time where Sean went to Mia's room. I think she was maybe like falling asleep or something. I'm not sure. And he tried to grab her phone and she tried to hold on to it. And he dragged her out of her bed and out of the room onto like the deck outside of her room. What in the... Did anything else happen on that trip to Turks and Caicos? I believe there was a freak off on that trip. Sex trafficking. Oh my gosh. Who else, if anyone, did you see Sean assault? I can't think of anybody right now. Well, I'm going to show you a photograph. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up Government Exhibit 28407 for identification? Miss Ventura, do you recognize the individual depicted? Objection to the leading nature of the order of the questioning. It's overruled. Miss Ventura, do you recognize the individual depicted in Government Exhibit 28407? Yeah, it's my friend Bona. How do you recognize Bona? A friend? I've known her for some years. Is this a fair and accurate photo of Bona? Yes. The government exhibit 2A407. No objection. It will be admitted. Ms. Gavin, can you please publish to the jury? Ms. Ventura, what, if anything, did you see Sean do to Bona? Objection leading. I think that needs to be rephrased. Ms. Ventura, that floor did you live on at Ms. Ventura? What floor did you live on at 875 Comstock? 17. What kind of? Oh, is this the girl? Shaw. Yeah, my mother. For always, my mother would listen. She was just worried about her son. She was worried about her son. He left in the ambulance. He was okay. When I got home, my mother said to him, because he's older than I am. I was the baby. Next time she tell you to stop playing with her, she don't feel like playing, leave her alone. It wasn't my fault. I told him to stop. Like, he was playing like roughly. You know how brothers, you have an older brother, they're aggravating. They always want to be beating up on the little one, just bothering me. I was very, introverted. Still am. I'm an introverted extrovert. People's like, how does that work? You model runways. Y'all, people don't understand. I'm an introverted extrovert. Yeah, I model. You don't. When I first started modeling, there was something that happened to me every show even before it was time to go out there, but I was able to overcome that. But other than that, like, I'm very introverted, but I say introverted extrovert. So the people that I work with was like, you're an introvert. You talk to us. I say, because I have to. The girl was like, did you just say? Because you have to. I said, yeah. I'm being honest. I really didn't form relationships at work with people because it's just too much chatter and all types of not like, listen, I don't got time. So yeah. Yeah, he effed around and found out that day. He sure did. My brother, God bless him. I love him. Wow, I think this is the friend, and she testified. So I think that this is why they're setting up testimony. I forgot about that friend that testified. Man. Wow. So, what kind of how was the apartment set up? It was one level. I had a 1-bedroom kitchen and balcony overlooking a golf course. Were there any occasions where your friends stayed over? Yeah, all the time. Which of your friends would stay over at your place at 875 Comstock? Bona, Carrie, Dial. Okay, what, if anything, do you recall about Bona staying over at your apartment? Oh, there was an incident where I was asleep in my room, and when I came out, Sean was holding her and threw her onto the patio furniture. What the hell? What the hell? She was asleep, and he took a friend and threw. All right, let's move forward. Let's go forward. Where was Sean when he was holding her, when he was holding Bona? They were out on the balcony. And approximately what time of day was this? This was like early morning hours. This guy was just a monster for no reason. What the hell? And what did you see Sean do to Bona? Objection, asked and answered. It's overruled. What did I see? Yes. What did you see? I saw him bring her back over the railing of the balcony and then throw her onto the patio furniture. So yeah, that is the girl that he had dangling from the balcony. Ciao. Miss Mentor, prior to this trial, what conversations, if any, have you had with Bona? It should be about this incident. Objection. Let's have a very brief sidebar. So hold on. This is that sidebar, y'all. Miss Johnson, just briefly, where are we going? Your Honor, I'm not eliciting this for its truth. I am offering this to explain on impeachment that I expect that the defense will do on cross-examination because the witness, Ms. Ventura, spoke to Bona after her complaint, after Ms. Ventura's civil complaint was filed about this allegation that was in the complaint. And during the conversation, Miss Ventura realized she had recalled the incident on the balcony occurring at the wrong date after this conversation. So I wanted to draw this on direct so that it is not before the jury as the first time on cross examination. That objection is sustained. I mean, you can pick it up on rebuttal if you need to. Miss John. Now they're back in open court. Miss Ventura, you mentioned you were friends with Bona. Is that right? Yes. Are you still friends with Bona? I am. Do you still speak to her? Yes. Okay. You can take this exhibit down now. Miss Gavin, can you please put up for identification only government exhibit 2A503? Miss Ventura, do you recognize who's depicted in the government exhibit 2A503? Yes, that's Kerry Morgan. Who is Kerry Morgan? Kerry Morgan was my best friend of about 17 years. Is this a fair and accurate photo of Kerry Morgan? The government office, government exhibit 2A503. Miss Asab, so no objection. It will be admitted. Miss Ventura, you said that Kerry Morgan was your best friend of about 17 years. Are you still friends with Kerry? No. Why not? In 2018, she got into an altercation with Sean and it just ended our friendship. What, if anything, did you see about Kerry's altercation with Sean? He came out of the bathroom after Sean just came in the house. I was living in Howard Way at the time, which was in Hollywood, and he came in, saw that we were going to do rugs, and he hit Kerry in the head with the hanger. Are you aware if Kerry had injuries? I'm not. She told me she did, but objection sustained. The jury should disregard the witness's last answer. When is the last time you spoke to Kerry? The summer of 2018. Moving on to a different topic. Before we get there, did you see the hanger that Sean used to hit Kerry? I did. What kind of hanger was it? It was wooden and in my living room. Just a wooden hanger. Moving on. I'm sorry. Miss Gavin, you can take 2A503. Thank you. Miss Ventura, you have testified about occasions when Sean provided rugs to you while you dated him. Is that right? Yes. Were there some times when you used rugs on your own without Sean? Yes. Did you also see Sean use rugs during your relationship? Yes. What rugs did you see him use? All of the rugs I spoke about today: MDMA, ecstasy, cocaine, marijuana, ketamine, and GHB. For these drugs, how did Sean obtain these rugs, if you know? Through friends and rug dealers. How do you know that Sean obtained rugs through rug dealers? Because we just knew. I just knew. He talked about it. Do you recall the names of any of the rug dealers? Child. Now, see, this is, one, yeah. What's his name? One Stop. Y'all, why is his name One Stop? One Stop here, I get you everything. I got all of the stuff that y'all use: the MDMA, the ketamine, the marijuana, all of the stuff. One Stop right here. One Stop. One Stop is on the scene. What you need? Oh my goodness, that's funny to me. Where did you see Sean store rugs? In his med bag, his medicine bag, safe, nightstand. Can you describe the medicine bag? It was a small, like Louis Vuitton toiletry bag, brown with a zipper. One stop shop, Allie. That's right. That's what I'm telling you. Listen. Ooh, oh my goodness. So you testified that you sometimes got rugs on your own. Mm-hmm. How did you do that? I also got them through friends and occasional rug dealers. Which rugs did you buy on your own? On my own, definitely opiates and benzos. What do you mean by benzos? Like Xanax or Valium? And what kind of rugs are Xanax or Valium? How do they make you feel? Anxiety. They are to calm you down. How often did you buy opiates or anxiety rugs from rug dealers? I was taking them every day for a period so often. When did you first take opiates? I very first took opiates when I got my wisdom teeth removed when I was 19. And then Sean had them and I took them with him. What kind of opiates did you take? I took mostly a pill called Narco. Any others? Percocet, oxycodone, Vicodin. Oh, she was just high, huh? She was just high up in the sky, honey. Because listen, what do Percocet pills look like? I believe they are white or yellow, like oblong-shaped pills. You just said that Sean had them referring to opiates, so you took them with him. Do you remember that? Yeah, in the very early stages of our relationship. So will that be approximately 2007 and 2008? Yeah. And during that time, where, if you know, did Sean store the opiates when you first started taking them? He had them in his med bag. And eventually I was taking them pretty often. So he put them inside of a vitamin C bottle and kept them on the sink in the bathroom in the New York apartment. God damn. At that point, he said if I wanted any, that's where they were. And how frequently did you use opiates after you started? Taking them around 2007 or 2008 when you were using them with Sean daily. How did you feel if you stopped taking opiates? Very sick, like flu sick. Were there times during your relationship with Sean where you sought professional help for taking opiates? Yes. Approximately how many times? Like 5 or 6. You mentioned that you took these opiates together with Sean. Is that right? Yep. So what, if any, opiates did you see Sean take? I saw him take Narco and Percocets and things. We would sometimes take them to come down from the freak off high. And what, if any, strike that? How have you know did Sean obtain opiates in the early part of your relationship? In the early part, he had a contact with a couple of doctors that would write scripts. Lord! Child, do you know they can go to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy keeps those records. All right, all they gotta know which name they was prescribed in, where they was prescribed. Child, can you explain at a high level how Sean would get scripts from doctors? He would ask if he had a good relationship with the doctor. He would just ask, and they would provide. When you say scripts, are you referring to prescriptions? Yes. Whose name, if you know, would those prescriptions be in? Anybody's name. An assistant, my own name. Yeah, whoever's name hadn't been used a lot. When you say hadn't been used a lot, can you explain what you mean by that? When you're getting a controlled substance and you're doing it frequently, you can only get a certain amount after a certain point. So yeah. When you say assistants, whose assistants' names would be used? Sean's. During your relationship with Sean, the entirety of the relationship, all approximately 10 years, I'm talking about, how would you describe your dependency on opiates? I heavily dependent on opiates. Do you use any legal drugs today? I do not. When did you last use any illegal drugs? Illegal drugs in 2022. How did you stop using drugs? I went to rehab. I sought professional help. Turning to a slightly different topic, I would like to direct your attention to your brother's birthday party in Connecticut in, I think, around 2013. Do you remember that party? Yes, I think it was his 30th. Yeah, what happened at that party? That party, at the end of that party, everybody was kind of leaving and scattering and going to other places, other bars, and the party was at a family friend's bar. And my mother told me that somebody was taking a picture of me, and I was intoxicated, and I got into a fight with the girl outside of the bar. What did you do? I pulled her out of the car, asked her if she was taking pictures, and I was punching her in the head. Well, Cassie, wow, I'm clutching my pearls. All right, Allie, no problem at all. We know, we do understand. We understand. No problem. You testified earlier that your relationship with Sean ended around 2018. Do you recall that testimony? Yes. Can you describe your physical health in approximate year leading up to your end of your relationship with Sean? My physical health, I was definitely going through a period of like these episodes that I later figured out were like PTSD episodes. I would black out. If you just came in the building, please hit the like button. There's a free way to support the show. It does not show me who you are. You can hit the like, or you can even hit the thumbs down button. Just hit one of them. It's engagement so that this video will be pushed out into the algorithm. Thank you so much. Objection. Overruled. You can continue, Miss Ventura. You were saying you had PTSD episodes. I had PTSD episodes. I know Sean was concerned that I was having seizures, sleepwalking quite a bit. My body was in my mind. My body was telling me that I needed to just chill out. You said Sean was concerned you were having seizures. Did you have a seizure? I did not. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up for identification government exhibit 3Q107? Miss Ventura, do you recognize this photo? Yes. What's depicted in it? That's the inside of my doorway at Haraway, the last place I lived before breaking up with Sean. And approximately what year was this photo taken? 2018. Did you take this photo? Yeah. Is this a fair and accurate photo of your front door at Haraway around 2018? Yes. Subject to our early objection, I don't believe there is an objection you made on this photograph. Withdrawn, no objection. It will be admitted. Look at them talking about subject to his her early objection, and she didn't even make no objection earlier. I can't like be real. Like be real. Hold on, I just need to send a message because I need to. Oh, and before I do this, let me just check and make sure. All right, so let me just do it this way. I'm just trying to see something before I send this. Nope. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Excuse me for that. So, yeah, they are a mess. She's talking about some earlier objection, and there was none. So, Miss Gavin, can you please publish to the jury, Miss Ventura, who placed the knife in the door in this photograph? I believe I did. Why did you put a knife in your door handle? I was getting a lot of unannounced visits from Sean where he was angry and trying to unalive two birds with one stone, to lock it and have a weapon. She was fed up, y'all. She was fed up, baby. Baby, she went and put she went and put the oh child. She was jivying a lock, and it was going to be her protection if he got in. It wasn't safe, Sean, and she was tired, very tired. So prior to 2018, you could take that down now, Miss Gavin. Prior to 2018, were there times when you and Sean took breaks from your relationship? Yep. Can you describe how your relationship ultimately ended in around 2018? Around 2018, I had spent several years like learning about a girl that he was dating for basically the whole like last half of our relationship. And I, as an excuse for myself, I don't even know. I said, if I catch you with her again, then I'm done. She's talking about Gina. And that's what happened. They were seen out, and I was in Connecticut, so I was out. Directing your attention to approximately August of 2018. Did there come a time when you saw Sean? Yes. What was the occasion? We were having kind of a closure conversation, at least in my mind, we were. We went out to dinner at a restaurant, like on the way to Malibu. I think at that time, he was trying to convince me to come to Burning Man with him. That's something we did together over the years. And from your perspective, what was the status of your relationship at the time you had dinner with Sean in Malibu? In Malibu, we were not together. Were you seeing anyone else at the time? I was. Who were you seeing? My now husband, Alex. Can you describe how Sean was acting at the dinner? He was just being really nice, playful, laughing, kind of romantic vibe, sort of, but we just were normal laughing. How did the dinner end? It ended with him bringing me home, and yeah, that was it. And can you remind the jury which residence you lived in around this time? Harold Way. Where you saw, excuse me, where you saw the door with the knife. When you arrived at your home at Harold Way, what happened? I went inside, went in the living room. He came in pretty usual. Nothing weird. And then he graped me in my living room. Oh, thank you so much. Child, we was just getting to a good part, so I was all in it. Not paying attention. Thank you for always. Jam. Throw up the avatar or something. Yeah, this gets on my nerves. All right, I'm gonna have to try this in another way one day. All right. Streaming function though. It's the only thing about that I don't like about this camera. It's that part. This would be the only thing. I mean, I guess it's not too bad, but yeah, thank you. So, where were we? He graped her. I mean, in my living room. Where in your living room did the grape happen? On the floor. How did you physically react when Sean graped you? I just remember crying and saying no, but it was very fast, so. Break me off. Show me what you got. Cause I don't want no woman in me. Ooh. How did you physically react when Sean graped you? I just remember crying and saying no, but it was very fast. So, what, if anything, did you observe about Sean's physical appearance? Just like eyes black. I kind of said that before. Just wasn't himself. The laughing and like all the things that were happening before that were not there. And it was just like somebody taking something from you, just like without. You said that you cried. I did. What did Sean do when you cried? He continued. I don't even know if he noticed, honestly. You also said that you said no. What did Sean do when you said no? He continued and finished. When you say finish, what did you mean? He spajaculated. Yeah, for always. That's what they, listen, that's what they said. Where did he spajaculate? Inside of me. What happened after you spajaculated? He got up and he left. After the in your living room, were you intimate with Sean again? I was, one more time, but by choice. What happened on that occasion? It was a friend of ours' birthday dinner that we went to and had a really nice night. Like, That we've never really had before. Everything went smooth and happy. So I ended up at his house. And when you say his house, are you referring to Sean's house? Yep. Can you explain to the jury why you agreed to see Sean again after the grape? We've been together for over 10 years. Like, you don't just turn feelings off that way. We were very connected at that point still. I still had good vision of who he was as a person. Like, I didn't hate him. After your breakup, who, if anyone, did you stay in touch with from the individuals who were Sean's friends? I kind of scattered, like stayed in touch with everybody, like just not every day. It wasn't the same thing. I backed away quite a bit from everyone, but I still talked to assistants and security and would check in on birthdays and things like that. Who is Brittany Hall? Brittany Hall was a friend. Her dad was one of Sean's stylists. Are you still in touch with Brittany Hall? I am not. Why not? You know what? For always, that is exactly right. That one time by choice made her look kind of bad. Yep. Yep. And I guess this is what everybody was talking about because she, at this point, was supposed to be dating Alex Fine. So she cut ties, but she should have completely cut ties. When you're done with somebody, you got to clearly walk away from them and not come back. Brittany and I were actually working together for a short time before I went to rehab in 2023. And she was like the only person I really stayed in touch with out of the group. Stayed in touch with after having kids and everything. We stayed pretty close. And then she started helping manage me and working with me. So when I went to rehab, she started a job as a host on Revolt TV, which is Sean's television company. And at that point, I just felt like it was a conflict of interest for us to be working together. Yeah. Okay, since your breakup with Sean, what sorts of communications have you had with him since approximately 2018? A few check-ins. I know he was trying to get in touch with me through other people. Objection sustained. The jury should disregard the last sentence of the witness's answer. Miss Johnson, focusing on your communications with Sean directly, how frequently did you speak to Sean after you broke up as compared to when you were dating? I mean, night and day. There was a few messages over a few years. Okay. And what were the topic areas primarily of those messages? Just checking in, sending love, nothing crazy. Miss Gavin, can you pull up for identification government exhibit A401G? Miss Ventura, actually, can you also pull up page 2 if possible? Miss Ventura, do you recognize this document? Yes, it's a text. Who is the text between? Me and Sean. And approximately, when is this message? This message thread from? It says March 1st of 2019. Is it true? An accurate message thread between you and Sean? Yes. The government offers government exhibit A401G. No objection. It will be admitted. Miss Ventura. Sorry, Miss Gavin. Can you blow up that green message on the bottom of the screen? Who sent this message? From Sean to me. Who is it sent to? To me. Can you please read it? I'll pull up and handle it face to face. No threat. Facts. And you will not be threatening me. You have too many iPads full of skeletons. If I was you, I would get me my money. Because we both have better things to do with our lives. I really don't want no problems. I got it from here. I tried. When the message says iPads full of skeletons, what is your understanding of what Sean was referring to? The videos on the broken devices that I had. And when he says, if I was you, I would get my money. Do you have an understanding of what he was referring to? Yes. What is that understanding? He wanted to be reimbursed. My husband was my personal trainer and he was paid. So he wanted money, his money back. Who wanted his money back? Sean. From paying whom? My husband. Miss Gavin, can you take that down and please move to page 3? Can you please blow up the blue messages in the middle of page 3? Can you read those messages, Miss Ventura? It says, do you want me to tell the truth? It's way deeper than iPads. What did you mean when you said, do you want me to tell the truth? It's way deeper than iPads. There is much more than just freak offs. There was abuse. There was many things that happened over our relationship. What were some of those things happen over your relationship that you're referring to? Objection. cumulative at this point. It's overruled. Can you repeat? Sure. You just told me you were referring to abuse and more than free calls. I asked what sort of things you were referring to beyond abuse, the whole dynamic of the relationship. You could take that down now. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit B513? Can you please turn to page 2 and 3? Miss Gavin, can you please blow up the message on page 2? Miss Ventura, who sent this message? It's from me to Sean. What's the date? January 7th, 2017. What did you tell him? I told you I feel like this is all I'm used for, and that's that. What were you referring to when you said I feel like this is all I'm used for? Freak off. And Miss Gavin, can you please go to the other page and blow up the first 2 messages? Continue. Yes. Can you continue reading, please? I didn't leave you. I saved you from beating me up and losing another week of my life to recover. What are you referring to when you say losing another week of my life to recover? Exactly that. Not being able to do anything that I wanted to do, work, normal, because I had to recover from abuse. You can take that down now, Ms. Gavin. Ms. Ventura, I would like to direct your attention to the time period of February and March of 2023. Where were you at that time? As of February 11th, I went to rehab and trauma therapy. What led to you going to rehab and trauma therapy in February of 2023? I was spinning out and I didn't want to be alive anymore at that point. Was that there any particular event that led to you going to rehab? I was actually shooting a music video with another artist, and I just kept having like these horrible flashbacks. And after the video shoot, I went home and it was like late, super, super late, and my kids were asleep. My husband was there. And I just remember telling him, like, you can do this without me, like you don't need me here anymore. I'm sorry. It's okay. There is a tissue if you need it. Yeah, I couldn't take the pain that I was in anymore. And so I just tried to walk out the front door into traffic, and my husband would not let me. I need a minute, y'all. Woo. Woo, that's deep, y'all. That's deep. That's sad. Thank goodness that she has the husband that she has. If you've never been through abuse, if you've never been groomed, hoodwinked, bamboozled, you know, people should really, really stop judging her. I'm so sick of people forgetting how this all started and how her being young, impressionable, groomed by this guy who's in the industry that has been out here, you know, allegedly assaulting men and women all over the place. This started for him in, you know, college is the earliest that we know. And so Kim Porter, you know, people are testifying to her abuse. And I just want to say, when the police were called to Kim Porter's, all of her electronic devices were gone. So that's why people are looking at her sideways. And her and Albie Shore, you know, they were talking according to Albie Shore, and the things that she shared with Albie Shore, he had told her to go to the FBI. You need to go and tell them about these things. This is crazy. So, yeah, it's okay. There is a tissue if you need it. Yeah, I couldn't take the pain that I was in anymore. So I just tried to walk. Okay. So during rehab and after rehab, what, if any, writing did you do? Just kind of letting everything out, putting everything on paper for the first time so that I could really understand what I had been through over many years. Luckily, I found out when I got to that, to what was rehab. At that point, I was coming off of Valium because my anxiety was so bad that it was more trauma therapy than anything. And with respect to your writing, what kind of form did it take? It took the form of a book with chapters that I started. Who, if anyone, helped you with that book? My mom helped me just get it in like a Word document. What did you want to do with the book? I really wanted Sean to read the information. I wanted him to understand what I had to learn to understand over that period. Why did you want Sean to read the book? Because I didn't think he understood. I don't think after all those years of begging for like sorries and just for him to actually recognize the pain that he put me through, like I just wanted him to understand. I guarantee you he has time to think about it right about now. Um, Like I just wanted him to understand what kind of pain did Sean put you through. I think bigger, more than anything, it was his own personal shame and having to carry the things that were shameful to him. What were those things? The sexual part, the freak offs. Like I took on a lot of responsibility with that I never should have. What do you mean you took on responsibility that you never should have? He brought the concept to me when I was 22, and I would do absolutely anything for him, and I did. And it never stopped. Our whole relationship, and it was expected of me, and it made me feel horrible about myself, and I couldn't get it out. I couldn't face him with it. I was always so numb because that is what I chose to do to get through it. How did you go about getting Sean book chapters? I reached out to lawyers. I had a lawyer. I reached out to his lawyers. How did you know the attorney that you used? I met him in 2021, and he was working on other stuff with me, like miling contracts and things like that. Aside from conversations you had with your attorney, which I don't want to ask you about, was there any other way you went about trying to contact Sean regarding the book chapters? Yeah, I reached directly out to Christina, to KK. What did you ask KK? I asked if he had read it and or just knew about it at all, and she said that basically it hadn't been taken seriously. Like I don't think anybody believed that that was actually me. So what do you mean you don't think anyone believed that was you? She said it wasn't taken seriously. Like they didn't think that I would do something like that. So other than wanting Sean to read your book, what else, if anything, did you want from Sean? I wanted to be compensated for the time, the pain, and like the many, many years of trying to have to fix my life. And without telling me about anything you talked about with your lawyer, what, if any, price did you have for the rights to your book? 30 million. Yeah. Can you explain to the jury how you came up with that figure? I really didn't do any research. I just picked a number that I felt like would alert him. Alert who? Sean. Are you aware if Sean read any of your book chapters in 2023? I'm not. Did you receive any money for your book rights? No. Did there come a time when you filed a civil lawsuit against Sean? Yes. Approximately when did you do that? That was in November of 2023. And who did you file the lawsuit against? Sean. Were his companies also named in that lawsuit? Yes. Is your lawsuit against Sean still pending? No. What is the status of your lawsuit with Sean? I agreed to settle 24 hours after. Yeah. Whew. And how much did your lawsuit settle for? $20 million. She got the other 10 from the hotel. Do you have any other pending lawsuits against Sean? I do not. Do you have any other pending lawsuits against anyone else related to your relationship with Sean? I do not. Without telling me about any discussions with your lawyers, why are you testifying at this trial? I can't carry this anymore. I can't carry the shame, the guilt. The way I was guided to treat people like they were disposable. It's what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And I'm here to do the right thing. When you say you treated people like they were disposable, who are people? Paid workers, everybody, anybody. Just circling back on the things you said about your settlement. You said it was 24 hours later, 24 hours after. What was your lawsuit settled? After I turned down what he said, was your lawsuit settled 24 hours after you filed a complaint? Yes. Okay. And who paid you $20 million? Sean and his company. Ciao. Girl. Miss Ventura, over the past 2 days, you've testified about multiple free calls that you've had with Sean. Do you recall that testimony? Yeah. Approximately how many free calls in total did you have with Sean? It's impossible to know. Hundreds. After you broke up with Sean in approximately 2018, did you ever participate in a free golf again? No. Your Honor, may I have one moment? You may. No further questions at this time. But before we start cross-examination, Your Honor, could we have a brief sidebar? You may. Ciao. This is the sidebar. So, Your Honor, we wanted to just flag that we think there may be Rule 412 issues coming up with Cross. I don't know if counsel is going to avoid those issues until we have the break. I don't know what those issues are. The issues are there were text messages that I believe that defense counsel was thinking about introducing over cross-examination that we learned through conferral that relate to alleged allegations that Ms. Ventura had X with other people other than the defendant. And that would obviously implicate the Rule 412. So as long as defense counsel does not go into those before the end of the day, I think we don't need to have this discussion. As the government is aware, a large part of the defense is the infidelity on both sides and the fact that Mr. Combs understood that Ms. Ventura was having other relationships with other men. Y'all, could y'all stop lying, please? Stop it. Just stop it. She was having other, she tried when they weren't together. Yeah, she tried. He wouldn't let her. Because he wouldn't let her, like, come on now. They actually think that it was just all so easy. No, it was not. So under my understanding of our confers was that was not a 412 issue. Yeah, so as long as it's that there were other romantic relationship without talking about other acts, not saying anything about having X or any actual contact with other people, that's fine. If the question is going to be, were you in a romantic relationship with other people and did Mr. Combs know about that? Fine. We would not object. That does not implicate Rule 412. But if there is going to be questions about X acts that this witness engaged in with people other than the defendant and other than paid workers in front of the defendant, we have a 412 objection. Well, a more basic question, is your preference to proceed at this time or to come back in the morning and begin your cross-examination in the morning? We can come back and start tomorrow morning. Your Honor, we would really strongly prefer to start today. Make sure this witness is off the stand given the timing issues that we have. All right. They were trying to run out the clock. They were hoping that Cassie would go into labor so they can get a mistrial based on not being able to cross-examine Cassie. That's what that is, y'all. That's what it is in a nutshell. They think they slick. She's 8.5 months pregnant. She has just testified over multiple days. The stress alone of recounting all of these events and having to publicly now tell the public, share publicly what they were doing behind closed doors. I'm pretty sure that it bothered her and that she's stressed. 8.5 months pregnant is almost her due date. Is almost time for her to go. Listen, they were trying to run that clock out, y'all. I'm just saying. All right. I imagine we have plenty of issues, Your Honor. The defense could question this witness about. We'll take it up as we go. I don't think we have an agreement here. I haven't seen the document, so I can't rule on it right now. You can offer it and we can deal with it. One of the reasons that it would be better to start tomorrow, we only have access to our client until 6 o'clock, and we need to talk to him. This is a very important cross. I think losing 45 minutes of in-court testimony, it's 45 minutes. It's not nothing, but 45 minutes with him, our time is very limited because he's incarcerated. So we would cherish having an additional 45 minutes to speak to him and get prepared for a very long cross. Your Honor, I'm happy to ask the marshals to keep him here later. This witness is very, very pregnant. We are afraid she could have the baby over the weekend. We want her off the stand before the weekend, and we believe 45 minutes can make a difference. Aren't we? Isn't that going to happen either way? Let's proceed. We'll make allowances for you to have access to Mr. Combs later than usual. We'll handle it that way. Okay, we'll take it as it goes. The witness, would it be possible to have a break? She says, yes. Okay, no worries. All right, we're going to take a very brief 10-minute break, and we'll be back. Thank you, members of the jury. We'll be back at 4:25. All rise. The court jury is not present. See you back here in a few. Thank you. I appreciate it. Please be seated. Well, I think Ms. Ventura may have solved the issue. She needed a break, which I was happy to give her. By the time we get back and have the jury back, it's going to be 4:30. There's going to be 30 minutes left. Given there are unresolved issues that need to be addressed concerning cross-examination, doesn't it make the best sense to start in the morning? Your Honor, we reiterate our concerns about not starting the cross today, given the timing issues we have with this witness. The government tried to be as efficient as possible in our direct, which was approximately, definitely under 2 days. I would say a day and a half total. And we really need to get this witness cross done. I understand that. In the same non-binding way, I have inquired as to other people about the length of things. Do you have a general ballpark sense of the length of your cross-examination? We expect that she will be done at the end of the week, on the end of the day on Friday. With cross-examination? No, we'll be done with cross-examination before then. We expect to take the full day tomorrow and likely into Friday. Here's what we're going to do. I think it makes sense for us to adjourn until tomorrow, but I will make up the time. I think we can... What? I think we can have lunch provided for the jurors. We don't need to take 45 minutes. I'm hoping we can avoid some kind of lunch discussion that it causes us to extend that. I'm also happy to ask the jurors to be here a little bit early so that we can start instead of starting at 10 o'clock, which is when we've been starting. We can start at 9:30 on the dot. So what we'll do is we'll have the attorneys come in tomorrow at 8:30, and then we will start at 9:30. We'll take a 30-minute lunch break. We should be able to make up the half hour so that we can really make sure that we're doing things in an efficient way. We'll proceed on that basis. So given that, let's have the jury back. We can have them in the box, and then we'll let them know what's happening and that they can be retired until tomorrow. And I don't think Ms. Ventura needs to come back. Let's get our jury. Ms. Comey, Your Honor said the witness can be excused. The witness can be excused. Thank you. Witness excused. The court, members of the jury, thank you for your patience and all your hard work today. I hate to bring you all the way out here to tell you we are going to adjourn a little earlier today and come back tomorrow. And I will just ask you to do what you've been doing, which is to get here on time. Tomorrow we're going to try our very best to start exactly at 9:30 so that we can make efficient use of your time. As I've told you on every other day, do not talk to each, it's supposed to be each other about the case. Please do not look up anything about the case. Don't talk to anybody about anything having to do with the case. And if there are any issues in the meantime, you can certainly let our courtroom deputy know. With that, have a great evening, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. All rise. So the jury is no longer present. Please be seated. Ms. Comey or Ms. Johnson. I'll be handling this one, Your Honor. If I may start, just to the frame the discussion because it relates to Rule 412, I would like to hand up, I have a copy for defense counsel, the letter that the defense sent to the government memorializing the agreement we reached when we conferred about whether or not we would need to brief any 412 issues for Your Honor. So I have that letter. And I also have the letter that defense sent to Your Honor after those conferrals. I don't believe Your Honor has seen the letter to us before. The relevant part starts at the bottom of page 1 and goes into the top page of page 2. I'm happy to explain the dispute once Your Honor has had a chance to review that. Just give me 1 second. You may proceed. Thank you, Your Honor. So the agreement that we understood we had reached was that both parties could elicit testimony about this victim's actual contact with the defendant and with paid workers for obvious reasons. We also agreed that both parties could elicit testimony and evidence about this witness' involvement in romantic relationships with people other than the defendant, because we understand that infidelity is a theme of the defense. And we understand that they want to argue that many of the disputes and the arguments that came up in Ms. Ventura's testimony related to infidelity. However, it was the government's position in our conferrals that any evidence or questioning about specific acts that the victim had with other than the defendant or other than paid workers in the defendant's presence would implicate federal rule of evidence 412, which limits the circumstances under which evidence of other X acts can be introduced with respect to a victim like Ms. Ventura. We understand that the defense is going to cross-examine Ms. Ventura about relationships that she had with other people, romantic relationships that she had with other people, and the defendant's awareness of those relationships and the timing of those relationships. We have, as of now, no subject matter objection to that. What we object to is that we understand that there are some text messages that reference Ms. Ventura effing someone else. That clearly implicates that, clearly seems to be evidence of another sexual act with a person other than the defendant and other than a paid worker in the defendant's presence. We believe that implicates Rule 412. We also don't understand why it would be necessary to prove up any X acts that Ms. Ventura had with anyone else. The defense can ask her whether she was in other relationships. We don't contest they were in other relationships. We are concerned that efforts to put in text messages referencing her having sex with other people is an attempt to backdoor in evidence that would be prohibited by Rule 412, and to get in front of the jury suggestions that she was having sex with other people. And that would raise the specter of X-based stereotypes and stereotypes based on promiscuity, and would be improper and prejudicial to this victim and violative of her rights under Rule 412 and under the Crimes Victims' Rights Act. Because this implicates Rule 412, I will also note that victims' first counsel wants to be heard on this issue, which he has a right to under Rule 412. He will want to submit something in writing if the court is not inclined to sustain our objection. I've just been handed the proposed exhibits. I would rather not read these out loud into the record. If Your Honor would like to see them, I can hand up the highlighted versions and I'll show them to defense counsel first. Well, let me just understand your position. You're saying that this evidence is not admissible under Rule 412. The only way it could possibly be admissible is based on an agreement struck with the government. And based on the letter that you provided to me, it is not. So then there is just no basis for the admission of this evidence. That is our position, Your Honor. What is the response? I suppose whoever is, as the proponent of the evidence, if you are able to put it on the screen so we can see what we're talking about, that would be helpful. I don't know what exhibits exactly the government's referring to, but from the way that they refer to them, there is going to be discussion. There is going to be verbal discussion over text messages between Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura about jealousy. When that is being expressed, it's expressed in the terms and the vocabulary of, are you effing that person? Are you doing something like that? I don't see how that's exactly what we agree is fair game. I mean, that is part and parcel of the infidelity and the jealousy. And this is the real world way that people express hurt over the realization that there is cheating going on. So if that's what the government's referring to, then I don't think they are saying that's what they are referring to. They are pointing to the letter that defense sent on March 28th in which this issue was addressed. And there the defense says that there will be evidence as to relationships. However, the defense does not intend to introduce evidence of any specific sexual acts between the alleged victims and these other people. That's right. We are not going to ask any details about X acts. That has nothing to do with our defense whatsoever. But you're saying you're not going to introduce evidence of any specific sexual acts? So I'm just reading from your letter. I understand. Let me make it more clear. I'm so sorry. If we're going to be talking about specific messages, I've just been reminded by co-counsel that Rule 412 contemplates a sealed in-camera proceeding without the public and press. So if we are going to talk more specifically, I apologize. The rule expressly requires that it be sealed. All right, without referencing any specific evidence at this point, continue. So the way that this is expressed is with certain terms that themselves, they do not refer to X acts. It's in the colloquial. I'm sorry to say, but in terms of exhibits, yes. How many exhibits are we talking about? 1 second, Judge. I don't know what the exhibits they are talking about, Judge. I'm doing this with one hand tied behind my back. I don't know what they are talking about. One moment, Your Honor. What Miss Comey showed me is written communications of along the lines of, I hear you're effing with so-and-so. Don't F with so-and-so. That is not a reference to a specific X act. That is the way that people express or ask a question, are you cheating on me? And if you would have used the words, are you cheating on me? I don't think they would be making this objection. But those aren't the words that were used. The words that were used were a little more, vulgar, things you're not allowed to say in a courtroom mostly. And that is how the questions were expressed. This is the text messages and the written communications. I expect we're going to see that this is not a specific X act. That is a way of asking, are you cheating on me? And we're not. And this isn't. This is not even within the spirit of 412. This isn't about people of ill repute or people who are edual or things like that. This is baked into the facts of the case. Both sides opened on infidelities. Infidelities get expressed in the real world a certain ways. All we are looking to do is express the infidelities that are part and parcel of both the defense and the prosecution, and the exact manner in which they were made and the words that were used. This is not 412. And part of the agreement that we have is that this is not 412. This is part of the case. This is part of the defense. We have won our defense on our sleeves since, I think, the first bail hearing. That all these things are about jealousy and infidelity and the anger and the hurt. This comes with jealousy and infidelity. And one would expect that the verbiage reflects the anger and hurt of infidelity, and it does. That is absolutely all fair game, Judge. I'm surprised that the government even views this as a 412 issue or views it as something inconsistent with our agreement, because we discussed this at great length. Everybody knows that we are going to bring up infidelities, that we're going to want to bring up text messages of infidelities. And these text messages are often in colorful language. That doesn't transform this into a 412 issue. Your Honor, if I may, we knew that this was going to be the defense, which is why we raised precisely this issue in the context of our conferrals about Rule 412, and why we wanted to make sure that the defense would agree not to introduce evidence of any specific actual acts between the alleged victims and these other people. We wanted that specific agreement and that precise language because we would need 412 litigation and 412 notice and a right to be heard if any evidence of a specific X act with another person was going to come in at this trial. We flagged this issue months ago. Judge, I would like to know what specific X act they are talking about. Your Honor, we would need to be under seal. Hold on. So here is the issue. Now that we're in cross-examination, you're going to be providing all the exhibits over to the government? Yes. So there is no issue sending the court Ms. Comey, once you get these exhibits, then you should be in a position. If you are not already to send those exhibits that you believe are subject to 412 to the court, maybe you have the numbers already. So, Your Honor, the way this issue came up is that they were making rule of completeness objections to our exhibits, asking to add in text messages that we believe run afoul of Rule 412. This is how this issue came onto our radar. So we have a handful that the defense has asked that they come in as part of our exhibits. I don't know if there are more than the defense is planning to offer, but I can tell you government exhibit B629 and B640. I'm sorry, those would have had the language because we cut it out. Those wouldn't have the language because we cut it out. I apologize, Your Honor. We're going to have to get you these text messages separately, but that's fine. Second, Mr. Agnifilo, is there any issue? I need to know what you're planning on doing so we can address this issue in advance. If there is a 412 rule, if there is a Rule 412 issue, as Ms. Comey indicates, those are various procedures that have to be followed. I have to think about whether there is even a procedure that would be permissible, given the lack of any notice under the rule. So what is your proposal as to how I can get that information? So we are giving the government all of the possible exhibits that we would use tomorrow, so they will have all of that. And if there are specific things that they object to, we can have that issue raised. But this issue in terms of, reference communications between Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura is certainly not 412 and not elicited for a 412 reason. But that being said, we'll give the exhibits to the government and we'll see what they raise. Well, There's the issue of the exhibits, and then there is the issue of the testimony that you're trying to elicit, right? Because those are the two forms of evidence that we would be concerned about. Here is what the nature of the problem is. The government seems to be saying that if there is a text message that says, "Are you effing so and so?" that is 412 because effing is a sex act. That is not that is not what that is. That is a way of expressing. That is a way of expressing if someone is cheating on someone, and that's what that is. You're saying under the rule under 412A1 or 2, it's not evidence offered to prove that a victim engaged in other actual behavior. Your Honor, I think it is offered to prove that the victim was having X with another person. Well, if you're offering it for that reason, before he opened up his mouth and said that last sentence that I just read, I could feel where he was coming from. Because we know that people say, "Are you effing with so-and-so?" It means, are you guys messing around? But now, Philo. Oh no, this is Miss Comey. When she put it in this way, I think it's offered to prove that the victim was having X with another person as opposed to being in a romantic relationship with another person. So she wants them to say, ask questions and use word in a romantic relationship. I think because, and that's why, I think that the government should have somebody on their team that can explain the culture to them, because fair is fair. Now, if they're asking a text message, "Are you effing with so and so?" that in our culture means, are you like messing around? Are you guys talking? But if it says, "Are you effing so and so?" that is a difference. Then that means he's asking, "Are you having X with so and so?" So those are the distinctions between the two. So, you would agree there could be a text where it's phrased as effing, but it was just the verbiage used. It's hard for me to imagine, Your Honor, such a text not requiring notice under Rule 412. This is hard for me to imagine. This is why 412 exists, so that there can be notice and opportunity to be heard in the sealed proceeding in order to suss out whether exhibits fall under the rule or not. This is why we tried to confer with the defense counsel months ago and were assured we didn't need such a process. All right. What I need to see are the exhibits. And I think the onus is on the government to identify the exhibits once they've been turned over. As to the nature of the inquiry on cross-examination, I'm happy to do this. There's an issue here because I take it that the defense does not want to reveal to the government exactly what it's going to ask on cross-examination. So I need to know, at least in general terms, what it is you are seeking to elicit. They are certainly going to know when we give all the exhibits. That's fine. This is time. We have no issue with it. Your Honor, we're not allowed to speak to the witness. I don't understand the defense question. So there is no conceivable prejudice. We can't talk to her. 1 second. Let's just be very clear about it. Let's say there is a hypothetical question that is, give me like the hypothetical question that you're alluding to that doesn't have anything to do with 412. Are you effing this guy? Oh, hell no. That's 412. That's 412. That is 412. He's not asking, like, if it was, "Are you effing with this guy?" you need the with in there. That's different. That's the culture. That means, are you guys talking? Are you seeing this guy? But the way he asked this question, Mr. Agnafilo, this is definitely 412, sir. Are you effing this guy? That's 412. That's are you effing? That's an actual act. How does that not fall within 412? Because it's not a specific X act. Yes, it is. It's a way of asking her, "Are you cheating on me?" We're not looking to offer it for its truth. We don't care what the answer is. We don't care what is relevant. Well, I hope you only ask questions that you care about. It's not being offered for the truth. Okay, the relevance is what is in Mr. Combs' mind and asking the question. We have no interest in determining whether or not that's in fact true. They are in a relationship. There's a relationship. If we were talking about relationships instead of the F word, none of this would be a problem. They're playing dirty, dirty, dirty. That question is asking her, is she having X with someone else, with whoever this guy is? Now, if they would have added the with, are you effing with? In the culture, it means, are you messing with this dude? But the way this question is formed, no, this is definitely an X-ax. You effing him? Ciao. They playing dirty. But this is all about relationships. It's just the way that these things are being expressed. Your Honor, I think that the defense can make these points, and they largely won't be disputed by asking for example. I can imagine a line of crossing that says something like, the defendant accused you of cheating all the time. Didn't he? The defendant accused you of cheating with this person. He accused you of cheating with this person. Accused you of being in a relationship with this person. The defendant told you he thought you were in a relationship with other people all the time. And I suspect she would say yes, 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 yes. They will get the record they need. They don't run afoul of 412. And they don't backdoor in accusations that she is having other sorts of X-acts that run afoul of Rule 412. This is not only a 412 issue at this point, but also a 403 issue. Those kinds of text messages, it's distracting the jury, embarrassing, humiliating this witness unnecessarily on an issue that is largely undisputed. We'll get the exhibits no later than when 7 p.m. We have them here. We have them right now. You have them, and you can hand them up right now. I think in the first instance, the exhibits we should start with are the ones we have been conferring on with the 106 issues. Those are the perfect ones to give to the court right now that you believe are problematic. I think that gets to the heart of it. I think that's right, Your Honor. But if we're going to have a discussion about it, it needs to be under seal. One thing, hold on, sure. Haven't we been talking about some of these exhibits already? We haven't been talking about them in the way of a sealed hearing. I just need to see it. We are not talking about it. It doesn't need to be shown to anybody else. But I'm sure you have the technological capability to put it on my screen. Is that possible? Not on our end, Your Honor. I defer to the defense. It's their exhibit. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to gather all the exhibits that are potentially at issue. We're going to do that by 7 p.m. By 8 p.m., if either side wants to put in a letter on their position on these issues to the court, they can do so. If the defense feels that the court's understanding of this issue requires a deeper understanding of the nature of their cross-examination that they don't want to reveal to the government, then they can separately. They can give one letter that they want to share with the government. If there is some portion of that they believe should not be shared with the government, they can submit that to the court in camera ex parte. Ex parte. Woo-hoo. I can review it. We can come back at 8:30. If there any need for a sealed proceeding before we start, we will have the ability to do that with whomever is at issue that needs to be there. We can do it in our robing room, so it won't be an open court. There are ways in which we can handle that in a fashion that will be acceptable to everyone. So if someone thinks they might need to be heard on this issue, they should be here at 8:30. Any issues with that, Ms. Comey? No, Your Honor. I would note if we do have a sealing proceed, either the defendant will need to be present, which the marshal would require to be in the courtroom. We will clear the courtroom. We will take care of it. You're supposed to say of it that way, Mr. Agnafilo. Now, just what I stood up to say a minute ago is, I think Your Honor asked me a question. I didn't answer the question. Your Honor asked me, which is, how are we going to handle the cross-examination? I think the cross-examination can be more general, talking in terms of relationships, things like that. I'm less worried about the cross-examination than I am about the exhibits that were written already. We're solving problems already. Yes. All right. So that's part of it. So it's really about these exhibits, is what you're telling me. I think that's right. We can phrase the questions in the cross-examination around it, but the exhibits are already written. And so I think it's an exhibit problem more than a question questioning problem. Your Honor, I understand counsel for victim one may want to be heard before we break for the day. He raised his hand and I saw him. I understand he would also like to see the exhibits, which he is also entitled to see under the rule. Okay, Mr. Wigdor, do you have anything further to add? No, Your Honor. That is my point. We are entitled to notice to the exhibits as well. So we raise an objection by letter tonight or to appear in the hearing in camera tomorrow morning. Thank you, Your Honor. Of course. Anything further on this issue, Ms. Comey? No, Your Honor. Ms. Guerra goes, I just want to add one point, Your Honor, which is why we backed off on the 106 issues on these exact exhibits, which is because if the government puts them in, they are offered for their truth, which is a point Ms. Johnson made to me last night, which we understood. And we are not going to offer any of Mr. Combs' statements. We have been talking about that relate to this for their truth. It's only for a state of mind. I just want to put that on the record because that's been part of the conference about this process. I just wanted to let you know. So because his state of mind is that he thinks that she's messing with somebody else, that it is okay to harm her? To abuse her? Yeah, this is crazy. And I can see why they changed their defense. Why the defense changed their strategy, because this is ludicrous. That does not give him carte blanche to beat on her whenever he wants to. And what about the times when he beats on her just because he's mad at somebody else? They're not even together, not even communicating, but he pops up because he's coming from somewhere else and he's mad about what happened there. He comes to her house and he pounces on her. Chill. So it's only for a state of, okay, we went through that already. Understood. Any issues other than the 412 issue that was just raised? There were some exhibits I know were emailed. There are some things to hammer out. I don't know about that. I'm just confirming. I want to make sure we get it right. We are getting the defense exhibits at 7 p.m. tonight. No, I think they are ready to be provided to you. Wonderful. We need to get them in advance. I assumed I could get them by 7 p.m. We'll get the exhibits now. We'll preview them and get you the ones that raise 412 issues by 7. If you need more time, let me know. That's what I said. Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Is the government, in fact, in receipt of the exhibits, or are they? I am not, Your Honor. I'm talking to the defense. My paralegal brought binders, and they are sitting right there. We will get them over. They are in the courtroom? Okay. We'll give them. We will also ask for an electronic copy. We're in the 21st century. Let's try to make that happen. That's what the judge said, child. We are. I do work with Mr. Agnifilo, but we are in the 21st century. I'm a little behind. Anything further from the defense? No, thank you, Judge. Be here at 8:30. Right now, this is the only issue that is relevant to tomorrow's testimony at this time. I'll be watching my email. Right now, nothing else. Ms. Comey, for now, Your Honor. Mr. Agnifilo says, thank you, Judge. The court, we're adjourned. So they are adjourned and they're going to start day 4. So we have finally finished direct and it's right on time. It's 12:12 here. Of course, girl got to get to her mama. Just had a late start day today. So I don't know how, y'all feel about that. I just feel like the defense already, as it relates to Cassie, y'all already trying it. Like that does not, even in the culture, if you ask somebody, are you effing somebody? That's an X act. But are you effing with, let's say, Bobo, Boo Boo the Food? That would mean that, are you guys messing around? So there is a huge difference. So for Agnifilo to say, oh, no, that just means, are they in a relationship? You know how it's going to come across to, everybody from the culture. That is the thing about Brian still does understand our culture. He understands, like, the lingo from our culture. It is what it is. And so he's part of the team. And even though he's not up there talking, I know that he knows the difference between the two. If the rest of them want to act like they don't know. No, that is definitely an actual act. Are you effing so-and-so? That's an actual act. But are you effing with so-and-so? Means are you guys dealing? Are you guys, messing around? Are you talking? Are you dating? Are you cheating? All that. Whatever, however you want to say it. That's what effing with means. But effing so-and-so, definitely an X act. Stop. Defense. Stop. Now, that's all I got to say about that, y'all. So I'm going to end the show like I normally do. I really do need to get out of here and be there, when my mother gets home from where she is. And so, yeah, he tried it for always. Like, he's trying it. Agnefield doesn't get it. Annoying. He gets it. Agnefield gets it. I can guarantee you. Brian still explained it to him. Diddy probably explained it to him. So he's acting like he does not get it. And I get that you're acting. But what you're asking is an actual act. That's not, are you just messing with this person? I can't. So I'm going to end the show like I normally do by bringing awareness that men get breast cancer too. Because of the stigma surrounding the word breast, we have changed the word to pec and or chest cancer on the Survivor Speaks channel. First, I'd like to thank my mods for being here with me and holding it down. And I'd like to thank everybody that's watching on X, formerly known as Twitter. I wish you would come on over to the Survivor Speaks channel, hit the like and subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. It's a free way to support the show. We'll see what happens we're going to be on day 4 when we come back. And it's going to be the cross of Cassie. I do have some memberships to give away for the month over here on the YouTube channel. And I probably I'll see, how many people come over from Twitter, watch from here. On YouTube, and I'll give out the 5 memberships, but I do not select who gets the memberships. It's random by YouTube. So I normally give out 5 and then I wait and give out another 5. So 10 free memberships for the month. So I'm going to be doing that as well. So we're going to continue to end the stigma and bring an awareness that men get breast cancer too. And to all of my ladies, please make sure that you are getting your mammograms, filling on your boobies to make sure that you are all right. All right. Don't you dare let anybody come into your house and disturb the peace that passes all understanding. I'm Survivor Speaks, and I'll see you guys in another live stream. I may, depending on what's going on, maybe I'll go live again later. Maybe I will. If I will, I will definitely let you all know. And see you guys in the next one. Peace. Survivor Speaks is the name at the end of the day. People love me or hate me, I don't care either way. Breast cancer busted through like a leaf in the night. A cancer's ass was knocked out before the end of the fight. A champion coming through, knocking everything out. It's just hard if you see, I do nothing for clout. Just like cancer, I'll let nothing take me out. So be respectful when you step foot inside of my house. Hold it clear and have your ass escorted on out. So hop up out the bushes, wipe your feet, take a seat, and get comfortable and chill with your girl. Survivor Speaks, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Who, what? I'm Survivor Speaks. What time is it?
time is it? It's time for you to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time that I go live. Yeah.